Welcome everybody. This is Arnaldo speaking, and you're listening to the GG Mindful Podcast.
GG!
Yes, that voice that you're listening, that is dying on the other side of the war room, is not my voice. So I'm gonna let him take over the hosting.
This is Mad Dog signing in for this week, and that other voice, of course, who took over briefly for the intro is Mr. David Santos, aka Dream Twister.
It felt good. It felt good to be on the driver's seat, but you're giving the wheel to a blind man that doesn't know how to drive. So of course, this show was swerving left and right everywhere. Ran 3 stop signs and might have ran over a couple of people telling me to stop, so I had to cede before we make any more damage. I had to cede my position.
A minute is 2 stop signs and several bystanders were in jeopardy. Oh my god. Well, guys, I don't know if you know, but we are in Tuesday election night, part 4.
We're on Tuesday. I know this is starting to feel like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Every day, every time I hear election night, it's like, really? It's still like, what fuck? Like, I knew it was gonna be long, but God, it's like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's the funny thing is that I think there was plenty of mention that this was going to happen because a lot of the mail-in ballots were mailed in, right? And a lot of the states, particularly the states in question right now, legally do not start counting until the election day itself. So when that's the case, you've got stacks and stacks of mail-in ballots. You're like, well, okay, wait a minute. It is officially the 3rd. All right, now we start counting. It's like you probably had it there for a good 2 weeks. You could have fucking counted it. But hey, the law is the law. It is what it is. And every state's different. I think one state they're allowed to start counting it the day before, and other ones there are other states, believe it or not, that do count it as they get it. You know what I mean? So it just depends. They're all different.
We should probably preface for our international listeners, and we have a few of what's going on. So basically, what's happening?
Wait, real quick. If there's one thing I am positive of, is regardless of where you are in the world, you know damn well what I'm talking about.
100%. For those who don't know, we of course are talking about the consoles that are going to be releasing this next week. We got PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, and right now the entire country is on a tussle because they can't seem to make their mind up. Who's going to be the next winner of the console war. And we just received some votes from Hillbilly County.
Wow. It is in that particular race, if you will. I'd rather say console race as opposed to war. In that particular race, I don't think that's going to be settled for quite some time. You think these last 4 days are long? Console fanboys, you got a long way to go to actually find a winner here.
The funny thing is, you say that like that, and it's true. I just saw someone either canceling their order or just posting a picture that they found on the internet. But it was like posting a picture of canceling their order for an Xbox Series X. And I feel tempted. I feel tempted reaching out and be like, hey, man, are you seriously doing this? I'll take it off your hands if you don't want it. Like I was that desperate to jump into this next generation thing that I'll just go. I'll just go for whatever. They're both fantastic consoles, and we're gonna have a talk about that at the end of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
end
for
of
sure,
the
for sure.
podcast.
But yeah, I mean, in short, I mean, I don't want to dwell too much on it, but it's been a stressful few days here, and I think you and I can easily admit that as much as we did not want to get swept up into it, it just becomes this thing that you're constantly looking at, and we are in a state, particularly in a state where that is just something. It's all over. You know, I have a feeling that there's plenty of states and plenty of people probably who just like, hey, it is what it is. I'm not even tuning in. Blah 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 blah. But for whatever reason, here, I think Florida is definitely one of them, where it's just you're constantly just pulled in, and I can't. I'm constantly looking at it. I'm constantly going, "Hey, where are they at now? Where are they? Oh, look, they're you know, it got it. Looks like the lead is gone from 1,200 to 2,500. Whoa, it's starting to
Yeah.
separate here. You know, and oh, that was a red one. Now it's blue. What the hell happened there? You know, so it's this constant. Man, it's just this constant
There's
nerve
an
wracking
element of it.
thing. Yeah,
There's an element. I'll tell you what is for me. There's an certain, and I don't feel proud about this particular part of it, but it's also not a bad thing. I mean, there's a certain element of entertainment, to this whole thing, and I mean it in the sense that I certainly wouldn't want this to drag out,
yeah. Hmm.
because I feel like the more it drags out, the more it gets. We're already, like, the name of our country is a joke, right? The United States of America. If we're not united, we're fucking divided by the stupidest thing. Uh, and that, I feel like the more the more it this thing drags out, the more the elections drag out, the more it creates this, the more it fans the flames of unrest, and the more people are, upset and anxious and worry and all that, and then, they don't know how to express it, so they just go out to the first release that they have, and it usually tends to be social media, and that's when, things start going awry and all that crap, and we just kind of want to return to normalcy at what
As
can,
normal as you can get
as
in
normal as
2020
we
at this
get.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I'll hate for it to be, to be dragged out. Um,
But it's
and,
it's
and
it's definitely something that we kind of knew. I mean, it just kept
yeah,
mentioning, and you're seeing it now because they're like, well, the count's still going. Why is the count still going? Because of all those things that's just been sitting by, and it's moving the lines up and down, and it's like it's just,
that's
again,
the
it's one of
part.
those things that you tell yourself, you're like, I'm not even going to pay attention. I'm not, but you still get.
Well, that's
It's
that's
just
the part that I
yeah,
find that I find interesting. It's like, okay, I don't know, I don't want to pay attention because I don't want to, I don't want to get the play by play. But every now and then I would just, let me check my phone. Let me see how the race is. Let me see. Oh, okay. So, they're up by 200 votes or whatever. Okay, all right. And I try to put it down. The problem with that is that I start reading and I start falling into the rabbit hole, and next thing you know, it's like, okay, I'm getting, like I said, it's at this point I'm covering all the networks. I'll jump to Fox News, I jump to CNN, I jump to the Associated Press, I go to ABC News, I go to MSNBC, and I try to get like each different point of view,
hmm
and it's not great. It's honestly, it's not great because I could be using my time for something more constructive. That's why when right after we got off from work, you say, "Hey, I'm gonna start cooking. I'll be out in a bit." I was like, "Well, great. Let me just take this opportunity and just spend time with my wife because I feel like that, like almost the time that we have had together this week has been like just glued to the TV,
yeah.
and that's not healthy. That's not
It's
healthy.
definitely not. It's definitely not. I've
That actually
just
goes into what we've been doing. It
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
affects
Unfortunately,
what we
yeah.
have been doing. Unfortunately, you
It has
know.
interrupted everything that would normally happen throughout the week. But all
Yeah.
right, well, I guess we'll get into that in a minute. So let's go ahead and start. First off, as always, guys, if you can, actually even if you can't, go anyway. Go to goodgame.rocks. Join the conversation there. That takes you right to our Facebook group. And of course, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone. What we normally do, guys, is first go into what we have been up to, move on into various news items, and then finish with our hot topic of the week. This week's hot topic. It's PC versus PlayStation 5 versus Xbox Series X in a, hey, which one would you buy? Or which one should you buy?
Exactly 100% not the topic that I want to go into. That was exactly what I was afraid that people was gonna misconstrue of what this topic is for, and that is, we're not making a decision, we're not making comparisons, we are not putting them in a race, and we're not gonna elect a victor because the PC Master Race will always win. No.
Oh wow.
No. I know. In all seriousness, that the idea of this is more of, hey, this consoles that, we got a new generation, and for the first time, I feel like we can start asking the question of, is it really, if you want to get like the best gaming experience, do you really need to spend the money to get into a PC? Like, is that viable? Is that a viable response, or a viable defense for the PC gaming community to keep saying now? Because what we're getting here, it's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
It's kind
The
of
lines have been The lines have
yes.
been crossed a little bit here. Yeah.
Yes. As a piece, as a first and foremost PC enthusiast myself, I have to say, what's coming is nothing short of amazing, and it could be an interesting, it could flip the table. See, now I'm using the the political lingo. It could flip
It can flip the state. Wait,
it
no,
could
the
flip the
tables.
state of gaming as we see it.
It's funny
To
because you had mentioned we were talking. I think we were chatting or something on Messenger, and you mentioned that it tip the scales back. It tipped the scales over to console as the preferred place to possibly go. Being that it's basically almost on par with PC. And the funny thing is that it used to be that, you know what I mean. Console was the place to be gaming, and PC was not, for various reasons. And then PC really started to take off, and then it just kept in front. It kept in front when it came to the edge of technology was always now on PC,
the brute
and it was
force
just
was there. It was just brute forcing. Honestly, I don't think there was anything finessing of the PC part. It was just more brute horsepower, and with that you have benefit, but you also have deterrence, which
Mhm.
is like the wall of entry. That not just in pricing, but also in having to kind of learn how to troubleshoot
maintenance.
shit,
Yeah,
and people
maintenance.
don't
Also,
know.
yeah. Mhm.
People don't know or don't want to do that. So yeah, but we probably should leave a little bit for the
Yeah. For the
topic.
for the hot topic. Okay, you're
This is
right. You're
gonna be
right.
an interesting one, yeah.
All right. So let's
We're
go
itching
ahead
into
and
going into it, and last time we opened with the hot topic of the week, the podcast flow didn't flow so well.
I felt a little off. I felt a little off.
It
We
felt a
never
little
did
off,
that
yeah.
again for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and start, sir, with what we have been up to. Sir,
Sure.
what you been doing?
All right, I'll take it away then. I have actually had the opportunity to play a lot more Watchdogs Legion. I was gonna
Okay.
open with another game, but let me get this one out of the way because I feel like last time we spoke, I gave kind of like a very quick impressions of it. Excuse me. Sorry about that. And but it wasn't enough to give. Like a recommendation, like to say, or to maybe not even go a recommendation or score it or anything like that, but go as
Mhm.
far as to say I like it or not. I was just experimenting. I have been playing quite a bit more now. I think I put about 12 or 13 hours on it, which is not a lot in the grand scheme of things. Uh, the game itself, the from from start to finish, if you just you could play like that. You don't need to do all the crazy missions of or you don't need to go in on side questing too much.
Okay.
And if you prefer to book it from beginning to end, it's still roughly around 30 hours. I've heard that's the clock count. Uh, 25 to 30 hours. So, but it's not the type of game that you want to ignore the side quests because some of them can actually get into very interesting things. I would say that on a few scenarios, I've kind of gotten surprised by the depth of the mission. They almost feel like, first of all, you guys probably know by now it takes place in a futuristic or near futuristic London metropolitan area, uh,
Yeah.
and and the whole thing with it is you got the hacking activist group got blamed for some terrorist attacks. The game opens with showing you how that went about and drops you into the point of, well, there's obviously some some dark machine to call it. There's some dark subjects ahead. We're gonna try to uncover them because now we live into this in this what's the opposite of utopian, dystopian
Dystopian.
society. Yeah. We live into this dystopian society where it's a very heavy, like, policed society. uh the whole thing, the whole thing feels very oppressive and kind of dark. And some of the missions that you go to, they don't mind going into, I wouldn't call them like, oh shit, that's fucked up that they went there, because they really does, or at least I haven't encountered anything like that. But certainly some surprising things like, oh wow, this probably could have made a really cool Black Mirror episode. you know,
Nice.
it goes into that, and I gotta give it to them. That those parts make the story interesting enough to follow up with. And I say that because I don't know. Unfortunately, the lack of specific protagonists, and this might just be a me thing. This probably is just how I personally feel, and it might not affect you, that if any one of you want to try it out. But having this decentralized protagonist where it could be anyone and everyone, like literally, like the next NPC that you see running around, you can select that person and or help that person or find out stuff about that person where you could then help them to where they will be okay to join you, and suddenly that person have their own set of skills and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
that person could be your protagonist if you choose, if you desire. you know uh I think you could stick to just one type of one character and let that be your character, whichever way you prefer. And you can customize him or her enough to where, hey, this is my cool character. That this is the if I want to play the entire game like as an old lady, and believe me, there's a mission where one of my operative was an old lady. But this old lady super kicked ass because I got three guards that started that went that went up for me, and thank goodness they weren't they weren't using lethal force. They'll just started punching me, and then about I just kicked her ass with the old lady, and it was amazing. It was ridiculous. So and then the way that I try to put it in my head to justify it is like, well, it's the near future. Maybe this old lady now, maybe she was like a kick-ass black belt back in my days, back in the day, on her youth, or maybe she was special forces or whatever. So you kind of have to suspend your disbelief quite a bit in it, because again, anybody and everybody in this game has their own set of skills, and that set of skills could be good or it could be crappy. Like a little, and I think I showed you this. There was a character, or there was an NPC that if I recruited him, his skill was that he unfortunately was like had heart problems, something like that, and he could die at any time.
Dear
And that was
Lord.
the skill. That was the
He's a
skill.
freaking, that's his skill? Oh, dear Lord.
His skill is like, well, this unfortunately this character could die. So sounds stupid, but and it is. But it's kind of cool that they have gone the whole gamut of ideas. Oh, his set is his doom. So it says spontaneous death. So you could be playing with and suddenly die, and that's just it. There's another one that could be a skill. Could be, well, this person is a compulsive gambler,
Hmm.
and every now and then, what will happen will it will be that your money will be diminishing or increasing. You don't know because the person is gambling.
That's a little bit like oh my god, what is that? What is the
I
Rogue Legacy?
Road Legacy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
it
that's
does.
funny.
Yes, it does. And some of the combinations, 'cause you could go to anybody, kind of scan them and see their personal profile basically, and then there
Mhm.
is a skill that lets you see even deeper into their profiles, to where you can discover ways to, different ways to gain them, to get them. There might be an NPC that you don't necessarily have an entryway at first, or it doesn't look like there's an entryway to recruit them. But if you like, you get super creepy and you start checking their profile and whatnot, you might discover ways to helping someone that is related to that person, so that therefore, now if you help that other person, this person will now be uh, good towards your cause, and will be willing to join you. And it happened to me already that what I was playing, a random NPC suddenly wanted to join me, and I didn't like. What did I do for you? I don't remember uh, helping you in any way, or doing anything. And suddenly I have this new operative. And when I check his profile, it turns out that he was related to some random NPC that I helped escape from the police, because the the police, or the paramilitary, or whatever you want to call it, the forces basically deployed there, were being very abusive of this person, and they were kind of like hitting him, and I didn't like that. So I just went ahead and took the person down, and unshackled the guy, and the guy, oh, thank you, and they just go running. Well, that, like, hours later, gave me this character now, who, I forgot what his skill is, but it's a skill where he is something to do with vehicles, to where, as long as I have him on my party, uh, if I need to escape, or no, not as long as I have him. Sorry, if I'm using him and I suddenly need to escape from the cops, uh, anybody that will be in front of me will swerve to the side. Will leave me space. They will
Okay.
get out of my way. So it makes getaways extremely simple. So so that's what I mean. That those are the interesting tidbits that the game has that makes it a fun experience. It's those systems in the background that surprisingly that so far, this game is not bug free or anything like that, but nothing so far has been a showstopper. And to see the background machinery working, it's I gotta say, it's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool experience. It's the closest thing to the Nemesis system that we have had.
That we're
Uh,
yeah, I was gonna say that we're gonna get.
yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully, this is Ubisoft, and we know that if there's a formula with Ubisoft that they seem to work, at least with Ubisoft, they'll try to find a way to implement it in other things. We we already know about the naval wars of Assassin's Creed, which ended up turning into its own game that hasn't been released yet, but they're still planning on it. The Pirates game, and it was because a lot of people love that mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's cool. Some of the missions could get kind of repetitive. Uh, they're still fun in the sense that it's still cool to see the things that you can get away with. Uh, but they're starting to become tedious in the sense that they're 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 they're, they're easy once you figure out what to do, and basically that is in my case. Even though you can play, this, if you want to go guns blazing, you can. I'm trying to play the stealthy approach, uh, but I don't even have to go too crazy with the stealth with the stealth in this game. I have a like a spider bot basically that I just throw out
Okay.
and I control, and then that spider bot I can get to a corner, for example, and suddenly hack a drone that is flying over the area that I need to do. And now I have control of that drone, and I can position that drone in the area where I will need to solve whatever puzzle is that I need to solve, or whatever files I need to download or anything. And I can accomplish missions without setting foot on the building itself. So
That's pretty cool.
it's almost like, okay, this is cool, but if this is the only way that you can pretty much resolve anything, then now it becomes boring because even though you could very well try the stealthy approach and just go in yourself, solid snake style, and hack your way in and then try to escape. And those moments when you pull them off are awesome. They feel great. It feels good to connect different things, almost like if you are setting up a heist and getting everything to work and then escape with it and complete the mission. That feels awesome. But once you get that little robot spider, it almost becomes too OP to where most of your missions you could just send the spider thing, because the spider thing is like a micro version of you. It could almost do almost everything you could do, or at least the important things that you're gonna want to do. Uh, there are some areas where you can't hack with the spider bot because you need to press. It needs a physical interaction. So okay, maybe in that at that point I'll just put the spider away, and then, or at least I'll use it to make my way, to open up my way, so that now when I'm stealthing myself inside the building, it'll be easier for me. Uh, and
Okay.
and I can do my mission. But like I said, I still think I think I texted you. I don't think the game is great. I don't think this is. If I have to give it a early score, right now, this will probably be a 3 in our 1 to 5 scale, which is a
Rating
3
scale.
being a good game. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because I do like I do like the finding ways of getting into the buildings or areas. I do like when uh, I have like there are several different ways that you can approach a solution. That emergent gameplay it's definitely there, and
Okay.
you can have some really good moments, really cool moments, uh, where you don't mind too much the the shortcomings of the game. Yeah, the voice acting is not great, but at the same time, I can't fault them way too much for it, considering that they basically make like you have your character could have any and every type of voice. So and it's not just, oh, they're modulating the voice so now it sounds, can I interest you in some of my wares versus can I interest you in some of my wares versus can I interest you in some, it's not that. They're obviously putting so they're sprinkling some dialects here and
Hmm.
there to
Okay.
where it makes your character feel like originals. Not great, but if they had to record a bunch of times the same line for, depending if you have the old lady or if you had the constructor worker or if you had the James Bond, looking fellow, uh, then that's cool.
Tell
Then
me about the tell me about the character animations or character
mm,
look, because if there's one thing that I've heard here and there, I haven't played the game, so I have no idea. I just kind of heard here and there that a lot of the characters are not very well designed
mm,
face wise. You know what I mean?
You're,
Particularly
they're
the
ugly
ones with
people. You say
beards.
you're basically English people. They're ugly people. That's what you say. British are ugly. They have crooked teeth,
Wow,
and
I did not
that's what you
say that
say.
at all.
That's
I,
right.
I was just
Yeah.
saying that I feel like I heard one too many people say it, and I'm just like, ooh, really, like that? Okay,
uh,
you know.
I would say no. Honestly, I would say uh, they are they are not beautiful characters. I want to say I was gonna be mean and say, well, they're true to the to the to what they have to work with. No, it is the animations and stuff. Here's the thing: you normally you play a cool character, right? Because he's the main protagonist, and they try to portray it as this cool character, and he has cool moves and stuff like that. All right, so yeah. Um, this is not gonna have that. You're playing a person from the street, and it could be like this, mature lady who just walks and swings in not the best, not the more heroic pose. I have a particular character that I really love, using her for my for missions and stuff. But it's kind of silly because she walks with a handbag, and everywhere she
Mhm.
goes, she's carrying that handbag, and I'm thinking like, oh, this looks like some yuppie that wants to go shopping, But that's the way, that's the way she walks, and it's kind of silly, and but overall, I think it's serviceable. I don't think it's great animation. I think if I have more of a problem will be the driving on it, which it feels awful. It's like I feel like if you're gonna do those type of games, where you're driving, I kind of like the feel of driving in games like the GTA series,
Mhm.
where vehicles they feel and they swerve on the road like vehicles, rather than, well, this is just some floaty thing that is it feels like it's hovering over the pavement, or this is these tires are super ultra grippy to it doesn't matter if I take in a curve at 180 miles per hour, they will they will just stay gripped to the pavement, and they will feel completely unreal because that's not the way. And it's not like I'm expecting like high end, like it needs to have like high end, you know force level uh physics. I'm not asking for that, but if you're gonna have an open end world that allows you to get into vehicles to get to places from A to B, I don't like when the driving feels silly and unrealistic. Unrealistic in the sense of floaty. Floaty is what I mean.
Hmm.
Floaty is what I mean because it's
I
never gonna
figure,
be
yeah,
perfect. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So and unfortunately, I don't particularly like driving. Yeah, you could drive fast and get to destinations relatively quick, but it's not satisfying. And because you're just a guy, or a gal,
Hmm.
you're not any type of superhero that can
Not
just
a,
go swing
yeah.
around or flying or whatever.
You're
Uh,
also not
Pretty
a
much
like a professional race car driver, so that's probably why it feels that way too.
no, no. Well, considering how grippy the cars are, it feels like maybe everyone is. Yeah. Also, futuristic London is very forgiving with people just stealing vehicles that are parked or whatever.
Oh
They
yeah,
don't.
well
They don't.
those are
They don't
minor crimes in the future.
that's how you avoid crime. Exactly. If you don't criminalize it, then it's not a crime.
Yeah.
They just you can just walk into any motorcycle or vehicle. So some vehicles will be on the street. They'll be driving themselves, and it'll have like a holographic A on the windshield on the windshield. Meaning
Hmm.
like they're driving automatic, by themselves, self driving. And you can just grab them. You can hack into them so that to get them to you, and you can just drive on them. So yeah, the traversal is not superb. I'm trying to
Leaves
think
something
what.
to be desired.
Yeah, yeah, I'll definitely that's what keeps the game from reaching that level of, oh yeah, no, this is great. This is definitely a must play. If you if you have played the previous installment, Watch Us 2 specifically, uh and you like it, I think I I I think this one will satisfy. I don't think this is worse. If I'll say quite the opposite. This so far has been very entertaining, and the reason why I believe I texted you at one point, it's like, man, this not that this is a great game or anything like that. Like it wouldn't make it. I wouldn't necessarily put it on my list of game of the year, but it is incredibly fun. The stuff that I'm doing it's incredibly cool, and I like that. The game has permadeath. You can choose your character, but you choose this at the beginning of the game. If you don't like it, you can just turn it off. I don't think you can turn it back on if you have, or if you start the game with it off. But basically means that if one of your characters get arrested, uh, there's gonna be some time before they get released again,
Mm.
unless you have a lawyer in your group, in which case then the chances of them getting released, it's a lot faster.
That's cool. That is cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Those are the and I'm forgetting a bunch of them. Like also, if you have a person that is good with like a nurse or something on your group, then you that person might be able to heal a lot faster. It stuff like that that the game has, that it's like, okay, these are cool surprises. I like it, because because it's fun. It makes it interesting. That person that I told you that was stealing or that was gambling your money. Money in the game, I don't know what the purpose of it is. I mean, the purpose seems
Not to
very.
buy shit, I guess.
No, it feels well, that's the thing. You're not buying, like, your characters are not necessarily uh leveling up so much as, well, you can unlock some skills that could benefit everybody.
Mm.
So that, I guess, the progression in that sense is kind of limited, unless you consider, well, I'm gonna skip this person for this one now, because this one has a cooler skill than the one that I was using before. And you can certainly do that. I think the maximum amount of the people you can have on your team is like six, before you have to start firing and getting another person. I don't know what will happen if you fire someone from the team, if that has any repercussions. But but the the way you unlock skills is by getting this. I'm not calling tech points because I don't know if the game refers to them as something different, but it's basically stuff that is, does collectathons. There's
Yeah.
not that many, but there's stuff that you collect, and they put it up, they put it in a section of the map, but obviously they show you where in the map where it is. So all you have to do is just again send your spider or your drone or whatever you want to grab it, and suddenly you have that, and you can use that to unlock skills. But the money there, I think the only way to spend it on is on cosmetic. It's on I like clothing and stuff like that because there's a bunch of clothing stores in the game for some reason. And I I have yet to got a team that I want to keep and customize and make it okay. This is gonna be my A team. I have yet to found that. It's right now. It's just my team is just a group of misfits that are together fighting for this cause, and maybe that's the whole point of the
Yeah,
game.
I was going to say that sounds like more, that sounds like the commentary is trying to make.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. I can see that. I can see that. It's just like I don't know if I am enamored with that point of with that idea in particular, because it's difficult. I always like to play a game feel like a badass, and it's hard to feel like a badass when I'm using a character that is an old lady that just because she's really good at hacking and it's gonna help me with this particular mission, she's gonna have to be the character that I use for it. But whatever. It's still a cool game. It's still a cool game. Watchdogs Legions. I'm gonna keep playing it. See how far I get on it, or if I run with it. Speaking of running, Ghost Runner, sir, that's a game you need to get that game at some point. You need to play this game. This game's
It's
awesome.
on my list. It's just, I have
Bump it up.
Hades has completely thrown everything into a loop.
Yeah, into Hades,
Yeah.
which is, by the way, seeing you, hearing you, like I always thought it was like a semi, not a super long game or anything like that, but a normal giant, super giant game where you can see the end, the light at the end of the tunnel. So far, with so many hours that you have put on it, it's kind of turning me off of wanting to go back to it, just because it seems like it's just a time sink that I just don't have time to sink.
I mean, all I can tell you is it's not something you need to consistently grind at. You can literally, if you have an hour of play, you can probably do 2 runs, and then that's it. You put it down, and if you come back, you play something else. You know what I mean? Because each time you're always adding to your skills, so you're just going to get better. It's just one of the things but the story also continues. Not to bogart your segment here, sir, but I'm just saying the story is always continuing, always adding new things. So I'm it's a game where I can go back to
Okay.
easily, do a quick run, maybe 2, usually 2 because that first one feels so good I want to do it again. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and then I'll put it down. I'm like, all right, that was cool. Let me go play something else, or let me go watch something else. You know what I mean? It's not, but because every time I think game, that's the one that comes to mind. That's completely thrown off all of my gaming. You know what I mean? So,
Just want to play more
yeah.
Hades.
So yeah.
And more Hades. Well, when you get a point, or if you just want to try it out to see what the big fuss is about, because I don't feel like it's the game where the story is going to be so conflicted, so deep that you don't want to put anything else on it. Honestly, this is a pick of a. You know which game it sort of like that in that sense. Um, Super hot. It's
Oh,
almost like a super hot level of, yeah, there's a story, but you're not really playing for it. But you can appreciate the fact that it's there because it makes things more interesting. But it doesn't put you away from playing something else.
same thing
So
like Hotline Miami
yeah, exactly, exactly.
with
It's
the
one of
same
those.
instant reloads. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with this one because at the speed that you get, and actually and the powers that you get, which I'm not gonna spoil because I'm not super deep into it, but I have gotten far enough where anything I talk about just becomes spoilery. It is, let me tell you, it gets, it's not super difficult, but it gets tricky.
It's challenging. Yeah.
It gets challenging, and it's such a good feeling when you nailed it because, like I mentioned in the first last week's podcast, that's when you feel like a total badass. So your ninja badassery, like at its best, is really cool. I think Shadow has been, she has been
Playing it.
uh she has been streaming it lately, and I think the last time that I saw, she was saying like, okay, it's time to finish, finish off Ghost Run or something like that. I
Mhm.
don't know,
Nice.
but yeah, no, the game's really good. You should definitely bump it up on your list. Let me see what else I had. Oh, and you're not gonna care about this portion, about this part, but I just happened to download the demo for Dragon Quest 11.
Okay. The demo of
And
the game you already have.
and I can see the confusion. I can see the confusion how it settles because you're right. I do own Dragon Quest uh, 11,
Mhm.
and and it's a game that I stopped playing the moment that you pointed out, thanks to you, how crazy and bombastic the music is on this game. I could not enjoy it anymore. Dragon Quest 11, of course, JRPG game from Square Enix. It has that I guess beautiful art style. I don't care about the art style that forgot his name, Toriyama,
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah. Dragon Ball Z.
from Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I have never sorry for like everybody that's now going like and I don't mean it as an offense, but I have never liked or cared about Dragon Ball Z. I don't like that art style, that the look of the characters. I have never liked them. I think it's like super ugly. And I mean, you can
Tadashi.
make some ugly anime. Uh,
Tadayoshi Yamamura.
I thought it was Toriyama. I thought it
Uh,
was the Dragon Ball Z guy.
that's what I'm looking at. Dragon Ball Z guy. Tadayoshi Yamanura. He became the main character designer of Dragon Ball Z. Oh, after Minoru Maeda left Toy. So Minoru Maeda, is that the one you saw?
No, I think I think we're talking about I don't know, Akira Toriyama. Sorry, character designer Akira Toriyama. I'm reading it directly from the thing. But yeah, it's a Dragon Ball Z look. So maybe it's not the same person. I don't know,
Maybe
but
he's
it's
borrowing a little bit
definitely,
from it.
it is. Oh no, this is like straight up plagiarism. If I had to. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna accuse that. I'm obviously joking. All of that to say, I hate the character look and I hate the character design, but I do find the game very charming. And the enemies are well designed, if a little bit too cutesy to want to kill. but and I was enjoying where the game was going to, but man, you were right. The music on this game. Here's the thing. It's not the music. The music in this game has, I mean, little, not to you and to me, so don't laugh at this statement, but it has been deemed legendary in by the fans and the in the Japanese circles and Square Enix fans and people that have been fan of of the Dragon Ball series. Uh, and it's not the melody that I have the problem with, because the melody itself is quite beautiful in some areas. It's the way they decided to build this one to where it was basically using MIDI. It's basically using I want to call it MIDI files, but for those who don't understand, it's it's digitized music. It's actually, instead of being an actual orchestra playing like a real audio, like Red Bull audio or Red Book audio from like a CD, or someone
Mhm.
actually performing, is digitized. It's actually, someone in a frigging electronic piano or whatever you want to call it, and making that music. And the problem with that is that, yes, you can make it sound good, but you can also make it sound very bad and very, like, this would have passed okay on the PlayStation 1 era. Around the PlayStation 1 era, all of our games, if the no, the grand majority of
Yeah,
our
I think they
games
were
were
all.
like that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now games now, they actually have orchestra, and they not only they have like the real performances of orchestra, but they also manage to make that music dynamic enough to where not only it sounds beautiful, but it also responds to your actions. So it's really good in that way. Well, the first installment of Dragon Ball 11 didn't have that. So what happened? Well, they recently released a newer version, an updated version called Dragon Quest 11's Echoes of an Elusive Age, just like the previous one, but they call it Definitive Edition, of course. And what does the Definitive Edition have? Well, among the benefits of this new version, uh, it has uh, it has additional scenarios that were not on the original game. Uh, it, it lets you switch between the ugly sounding music and a beautiful orchestrated soundtrack, which the game actually defaults to that. Somebody they're realizing like, oh yeah, this was a mistake. We need to make this the actual version. So they changed the music on it. I mean, it's the same melody, but now it's everything is orchestrated by the, I want to say, by the Tokyo Metropolitan Symphony, from what I heard, because the game itself makes it like it presents it to you when it's on the opening series. It actually shows the music kind of like MTV used to with the name.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it tells you is I want to say it's the Tokyo Metropolitan Symphony, or don't quote me on that. Anyway, and it also have a cool 2D mode that it's a throwback to the NES era Dragon Quest games. And let me tell you, it definitely looks like a bit. Would it be a bit? I'm gonna have to look at it again um, to make sure. No, it's actually a little bit more
16,
16
right?
bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say.
It looks 16 bits.
Yeah.
So it looks like a Super Nintendo old school JRPG, which is cool if not that like I wouldn't necessarily play the entire game like that, but let's say I just want to switch it up. Sure, you could do that. That's cool. That I like that they added that. It's unfortunate that the demo doesn't let you select that from the get go, but it is a demo that is fairly generous. It lets you play up. It has like 10 hours of content basically. I don't think it has a timer. As a matter of fact, I don't believe it has a timer. It's just at some point in the story, it just stops and, hey, if you want to play it, if you want to continue this game through, you don't have to start all over when you buy it again. If you want to continue where you left off on this demo, buy the definitive edition. Is out on December 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool that that they did that, they released a demo. Will that change? Like I showed this game to you, and you're like, oh, and I don't think this will change your mind in the sense of, well, now they fixed the music. Now you're gonna be like, oh, a JRPG. I like JRPGs. I might just try this out. No,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it'll necessarily.
120-hour JRPG. Sure.
Yeah, let me get into one of those. No, but I'm saying because the game, obviously the game the game has been recognized to be a really good game, a really good story, and and the reviews of the original with the bombastic crazy music has even with that they have been really good. So like I don't have doubt on that. I have doubt on me sticking all that time. I mean, I do like JRPGs, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I want to, if it's enough to make me want to rebuy this game again because fucking Square Enix will not give you the upgrade, this patch basically that fixes the original game that came out not too long ago. They don't give you, they don't even give you a discount, bro. They don't even give you, like I was expecting, like, okay, maybe not a free upgrade because I understand they have put enough. They added all the DLC and whatever. That's fine. Let me pay $20 for it. They paid $20. The game's $49.99. I mean $39.99, which is not a bad price for for the content that it has for a game if you haven't played it at all. So this is your first time. But if you are a previous owner of it, like come on, I'm gonna be forced to spend $40 if I want to play the updated version of the same game because on the rest it's the same game with more stuff.
Hmm.
It's not like there are. I mean, they're making the battles a little bit faster. That sounds like a patch upgrade to me than anything else. Um, there were still other upgrades to it, but those are the main things. Basically the 2D model and fixing the music. Those are like the main things of the demo. And yeah, I gotta admit, it was kind of cool playing. Putting time on it, and he made me think of grabbing it. Honestly, I was thinking like, I mean, maybe I'll stick to it now. It sounds better, and I was enjoying it before Mad Dog completely ruined it for me because, of
You're welcome,
course,
sir.
he
I'm
can be
glad I was
happy
able to
with me
save
enjoying
you.
a game. It's so hard for me to get a game that I will stick to. And, but no, I saw that no, I'm not gonna pay, you know, even if it's a reduced price, $40. I own this game already, and it's not I don't have a problem double dipping on games that I'm really really interested in. But that's the key word. I have to be really, really interested in it, and it has to be like a complete change of platform. It can't be the same thing. I
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
playing on PC. I played on PC. If they would have made upgrades on the on the version enough to where, oh, now it actually feels like a PC game, not like a port. No, it still feels like a fucking port. So fuck that. I'm not putting. I'm not gonna give them my money. So, so yeah, man. And then the rest is I've been playing the game of the elections and
Yes, the election
I've been
watch,
watching that.
2020.
Yeah, election watch 2020.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, man.
just when you thought it, 2020 could not get worse.
I know.
It was
This shit had
election
to
year.
happen. My
Exactly.
goodness.
I don't think we're gonna make it to 2021. You know what? If you didn't get a PS5 now or an Xbox One X, don't even bother because 2021 is not happening. 2021 has been canceled.
Oh, yeah, we're going straight into 2022. We're completely skip a year. Why not?
Why not? At this
Why not?
point, we skipped 2020 because
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, by no choice of our own, we had no choice to skip 2020, and now
right,
we're going to retaliate by saying, "Fine, world, we're going to skip 2021."
exactly. It's gonna be 2022 now. How you feel about
Yeah,
that?
how about them apples? Oh man, I tell you. All right, well, as I mentioned, like I said, do my occasional runs of Hades. Still actually playing also No More Heroes.
Oh yeah, you
The
started that.
Yeah, the I'm I've got like so there's in the story is not really a spoiler, but the story basically is that you're trying to take out the top 10 assassins, right? And so you're always trying to make money so you can enter the next round and defeat the next person. I just defeated number 5. So I have 4, 3, 2, 1 left. So I'm almost there. The problem is the in between stuff. I don't mind it, but at some point it's just like, oh, I just want to move on to the next person, guys. Do I really need to, earn 400,000 monies, so that I can do this?
No, they don't call it yen or anything like that. The credits.
No, I forgot what they call it. It's something odd on purpose, and so that's why I don't remember what it was. But
Assassin's coins.
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. That's what the John Wick uses. Why not?
That's a new cyber currency. What do you call
cryptocurrency?
Cryptocurrency. Yes, it's assassin.
Yeah, coin. Exactly. So I took a break from that, and I jumped into a game that I literally dipped my toes into probably a while back. I don't even think I brought it up, and if I did, it was probably just to say I tried it and I haven't even really got into it. Mostly because I didn't get far in, and that is a game called Observation. And this is, of course, a Devolver Digital joint. Let's give it up to the Devolver guys. But so this is, you've probably seen this. This is it's basically like a sci-fi game where you play as the ship's AI, and you're trying to assist the crew in figuring out what's going on. But you play the AI, so you're jumping between cameras in the ship and everything, and unlocking stuff and doing what you got to do to assist the crew. And there's this crazy mystery that's behind it. It is really good. It's like, and I remember like running into it before and going, man, this is cool. But I think I just tested it. And I was like, I need to back away because if I don't, I'm going to not play what I'm playing right now.
You already knew that. Okay, this is going to grab me. I'm going to save it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it in my Sega bag.
Yeah, exactly. So it is, there is a level of like, I don't know. It's just like this. You don't know what's going on. This is not really spoiler because it's literally within the first minutes of the game. It's just kind of the setup, essentially. Something happened. There's like some space station that's floating above Earth. Something happens, and the AI just gets turned on, and all you're listening to is the ramblings of a Dr. Emma Fisher. And she's trying to find her crew, and she's also trying to reboot you, the AI, so you can help her out, essentially. AI is called SAM. It stands for something. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's S.
Can't remember what stands for.
What SAM stands for.
Oh, Sam. I thought you said Stan. I was like, what? Okay. I'm going to shut up now.
It is so cool because it feels like really cool sci-fi, and we just had our favorite sci-fi episode recently, and this is right up there with that crazy space disaster mystery thriller. You know what I mean? You don't know what that's going on, and it's well acted, voice acted. It is the game looks really good. And it's the way you play. It's weird because you can go into different parts of the station via the camera, and then you can kind of hack. Not hacking, but basically sort of digitally connect to either a laptop to get information or to this door so you can open it for someone. And if you can't, it's because it's blocked or something else. You got to kind of figure out what's going on, and you can actually go into these there's like these little orbs that actually fly through through the entire station. It has full 360 view. And when that same little orb can go outside and kind of fly around the outer edge of the space station to see what's, something needs to be repaired or so what's going on the outside. It is really well done.
What's it called again?
Observation. It's on Steam for the record. So I mean, it's
oh shit. I think this might be another one of those that I own this game because it was free on the Epic store at some point, but I haven't touched it.
Yeah, you're
I,
missing out on
I'm
here, my
thinking
friend.
now. Huh?
Yeah, you're missing out here. This is a it's first off, it's a puzzle game for the most part.
Mm.
To give you an example, you need to um, I don't know, the coolants or whatever. So you as the AI has to get to a certain part of the ship and via the camera, uh, directly interface with the system that needs to do it, and then that system will open up.
Dude, this looks really good. Unless it's a CG.
No,
Uh,
no, no. There's no CG there, my friend. Everything you're watching is the actual game.
this is
So
game. This looks amazing.
I
And
know.
I had it all wrong. I'm thinking of Observer again. I always get confused with that.
Oh,
I confuse that game for a bunch of them. But the yeah, the footage that I'm looking at, it looks realistic. It looks very very realistic.
it's
Uh,
very cool, man. It's very cool. There's a
uh,
mystery obviously behind as to what happened,
uh-huh.
and the way it delivers the thrills. It's really really cool. Music is behind there that kind of gives that little. It has that cinematic music feel when things are like,
Suspense.
yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
hear the, doom, you realize, oh shit, something just happened. You know what I mean? Yeah, and yeah, it's. I'm glad I came back to it. I knew I was gonna come back to it. I had no doubts that I would, but I'm also glad I didn't half-ass it the first time. I'm glad I kept it. And I was like, let me just not, because that would have taken me away from what I was playing. But yeah,
What
yeah,
you're still playing.
yeah, yeah. Well, true, but everything I'm playing now is one I've played already. No More Heroes, the first one, so it's not like I'm missing out on anything. And two, like I said, Hades, I can in and out, in and out. So it's not the type of game that requires you to be there, like Ghost of Tsushima, for instance, or something like that, where I'm like,
Yeah.
no, this is an open world adventure. I want to be 100% into this. So,
Gotcha.
um, and this one here, I don't know how long it is. I didn't get a chance to look it up, but I don't think it's a very long game, and it's just so good, man. It's just such a well done game. Really, again, if you like that crazy sci-fi where the AI, you don't know if to trust it, and the people, or whatever, it's just, and then you're the one playing the AI. So you're like,
Cool.
oh, this is really good. So that's all I've been playing, believe it or not. But I have watched a few
Wow.
things. And just a couple things actually. First and foremost, continuing my trip as usual, as it's been now for 4 weeks, down the Batman memory lane, and I'm finally up to Batman Begins, and so I watched Batman Begins this week,
Yay.
and man, did I forget how good this movie is. I don't know if it's because I'm coming
Yeah.
off of Batman and Robin, or it's
That
just,
could be also. Yeah, that could be
it could
a.
be a bit of both. It could be a bit
Yeah.
of both. It is a really well done. It's obviously Christopher Nolan. It is well written, well
Mhm.
acted. Everything that you normally would get from this. I love the introduction of the Scarecrow. I think he's a fascinating character normally, and I think the version that they had here is really well developed and well thought out. Um,
Mm.
love Michael Caine as Alfred. He's a great Alfred. Um, what else? The whole the whole history of it. It's one of those things where if you really now going through it, yeah, you've seen glimpses of his history, usually in the death of his parents, but
Mm.
not really his how he became who he is. And this one, that's really what this movie is, almost 100%. I mean, you don't even
Yeah.
see him as Batman until an hour into the film. You know what I mean? Is when you finally see him, because it's this
Damn.
entire backstory and setup as to what led him down this path, and it just so well. And he does borrow some elements from a graphic novel, Batman Year One, which is a great graphic novel. If you have not read it and you're
Mm.
interested in those graphic novels, that's an excellent one to do. It's another Frank Miller joint, and a lot of little elements from that he pulled from. You can definitely tell, and so it's anyway. And Gary Oldman obviously is great as Gordon. He's not commissioner. I think he's only like, I think he's like a sergeant and becomes a lieutenant by the end or something like that. So he's still not a commissioner, but
Uh,
Gordon's in it, and so they team up, and it's just, I don't know, the bat suit.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I'm like, there's something weird about it, but I guess again, coming through the other Batmans, I'm going, wow, this one really,
I
I
don't
don't know.
remember. Did they upgrade or change his bat suit? I'm kind of drawing a blank if they did or if they
The bat
kept it.
suit is very so. First off, he gets it from Lucius Fox. It's a suit that never got into production because
Yeah.
the bean counters never thought that a soldier's life is worth $300,000. This is basically the line from the film, which makes again perfect sense. The suit is basically it's a it's basically the same similar type of suit you've seen the other ones, but it's just a suit. They had to make the cowl separately, and I think that's kind of where it stands out. The
Mm.
cowl and everything looks different from the suit, and it just when you look at it, you go, "Wow, that doesn't," And then the cape is almost velvet because it's so dark. It's like, whoa, it's not like the other capes where it's the same material as the rest of the outfit. This one
Yeah.
sticks out, which kind of makes sense because really, when he's in the darkness, he's in the darkness at that point because you really can't see him. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Practical use. I guess it made sense.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Ra's al Ghul obviously is a great introductory character. Um, I don't know, man. It was just really good. I'm glad I revisited it. It's just really really cool. Of course, a Tumblr gets and let me tell you, I just realized that looking at the other Batman movies,
Mm.
this is the first time since the '89 one you actually get a an awesome fast paced chase. You know what I mean? The chase for the
Oh.
Tumblr is really really well done. And you really go back to the other ones. Yes, there's a couple times where they're being chased down, but you can see they're going like 15 miles an hour. It's like this is not really a chase if you're going that damn slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is fast paced. He's destroying stuff. He's just like pancaking freaking cop cars. It's just like whoa. Um, it's just exciting, bro. I'm so glad I'm doing this. Let me tell you, it's like this is. And let
Well,
me tell you, I
you get the
doubted myself in the last two, but I'm glad I'm up to these now.
That's cool, man. No, that I yes. This is a series. There was a time where there were no what do you call that, like I didn't differentiate between hero movies and any other movies, and I feel like when the Dark Knight series came out,
Mhm.
it almost caught me by surprise. I think I remember. You remember,
Yeah,
because I
because you
had
hadn't
known you
seen
for
the
that
dark.
time,
Yeah,
where I was like, man, I just saw which one was it? The Dark Knight. Man, that was a great movie. They should make a third one of it. And you were like, they did make a third one. It's already out on Blu-ray. I'm like, what?
yep,
There
yep. I
is.
remember this.
I was like, I was able to like grab it and go. I was like, wow, that's amazing.
I was so disappointed by that statement. For the record, it was just like,
No, because
oh,
around that time, because remember, I have never been a huge like movie watching person, and back when the whole thing with the first Avengers, before the first Avengers, with the first Iron Man and then Captain America came out, and I didn't get in the Marvel train until Iron Man 3, first of all. and and the Batman thing, I was like, I knew that the movies were out, but after the disaster that were the movies that follow the Batman,
Michael Keaton ones, yeah. Mhm.
Michael Keaton one, yeah. I, I wasn't following it. Honestly, it was that I wasn't following it. Then I heard, I rented Batman Begins, and I liked it, and then but I was still not following it. I don't believe I saw, like, I didn't see the Dark Knight in the movie theater. I saw it one time. I just rented it and I liked it, and I told you about it later on, much later. So it has been years actually since the Dark Knight was out, and I hadn't seen it, so that should tell you.
Yeah,
But
it is.
and they,
That's similar
they
to
haven't made a better one. They haven't made a better one.
no, they have not. I didn't see Batman Begins in the theater. I saw it when it came out to home video. That's really when I saw it, and the same exact reason. I was like, I didn't really know Christopher Nolan at that point, so it's not like a name that pulled me. Christian Bale wasn't really a big name that pulled me either. So I was like, I don't know who these people are, but that doesn't look like the Batman I'm used to. Although considering what I was used to at that point, that should have been a good thing. So it wasn't until it came on video that I realized how really good it was. And then, so by the time the Dark Knight came by, I was amped. I was like, I took Nick to see it the week it came out. And it was, it's, I can't wait to the next one. Let's just put it that way. I'm already excited. I'm there.
I remember thinking like, man, I love this movie, but this movie's too fucking long.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever. Well, Batman Begins didn't feel like.
No, not Batman Begins. I'm talking about the third one.
Dark Knight Rises. Yeah,
Batman Rises was a little too long. I was like,
it was long from what I recall, and I remember having my own critique because of that. But anyway, the last thing I saw was a series that I've mentioned to you already. And at that time, I was 6 episodes in, and I waited till I was a little bit further in because of the prior Raised by Wolves scenario, where at 3 episodes, I was like, whoa. And then from 4 to 10, it was like, okay, I guess that was all right. I guess that was okay. So I was in episode 6 of this one, and I said, dude, maybe early, but I feel like it's time to give you this information for this one. And you told me, give me 2 more episodes. And I'm like, all right, fair enough.
I'm asking for collateral.
At this point, right? We need an 80% at minimum.
Yes.
Well, I'm happy to say that I've actually finished. So I'm already full 10 episodes in. And of course, wait, I didn't even say it. The series I'm referring to is called Lovecraft Country, and this is on HBO. And this series, first off, sir, I don't know how much you know about H.P. Lovecraft.
A little bit.
A little
bit to know the concept, but I want to know how, like, what is it that they did on this particular series that they're applying in that? Because I've seen the trailers, but I'm confused.
Fair enough. So H.P. Lovecraft is a writer from a while back, and I think he died in his 40s, something like that. And before he died, he wrote many sci-fi books, and not only that, he created a world, or like a universe, essentially, where this is where Cthulhu comes in. I don't know if you've ever seen what Cthulhu looks like, but it's this huge beast with tentacles and all this stuff. He's created Shoggoths. There's just so many elements, and the world that he's created is a world where there are these fantastical beings, ultra powerful beings that look upon, that don't even care about the human race. They look upon the human race the way you would look upon the ants that are on the floor when you're walking in the street. That's essentially how he's painted them. First off, H.P. Lovecraft, it's a couple things to know about him that are actually very important to this. He was not a believer of Christianity in any way. He was a huge, well-known, well-documented racist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Really, some of his stories go into some real, damn, he's just, you have all the ladder of whatever, and minorities are at the very bottom, and they should be there to support white people. This is essentially his view, right? And because of that, it is his books and stuff are very difficult to recommend or to tell people to get into or to even get into yourself, knowing that, because there's always a little bit behind you that you're going to go, yeah, but should I like this? You know what I mean? Should I even care like it? But a lot of people still do, regardless. And so that's the history of who H.P. Lovecraft is. Lovecraft Country is a book that was written that uses elements of H.P. Lovecraft history and lore, but it takes place in like the 50s. So that's where essentially the show takes place. It takes place in the 50s. It's almost a completely black cast. And it's in a time, and it's like Jim Crow era. So there's a lot.
Ironic. Sounds so ironic that I love the irony on it.
And and that's the crazy part.
Lovecraft, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. It takes place during, like I said, segregation. But it has all these fantastical elements. Where it includes the ghost, it includes multiple universes, it includes all these elements, and it's just done in such a fun way. It's just I don't know how to explain it, but when my wife and I watched it all, and we really had fun with the series. Although it's literally meant to, you have this element because the main characters and everything you're following. They're constantly in danger, but it's multifaceted because they're in a time where if there were no evil elements, you'd still have the racism that they had to deal with, and it shines a light on a lot of these things. Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, you have your shoggoths and you have your spirits and you have other. So it is the only thing I kind of like warn some people about is that it can be very sexual. So if you're not into that type of thing for whatever reason, then you certainly don't want to watch this with kids. It also is graphic, but not to the point where it's disgusting. Graphic to the point where sometimes it's just like almost like funny, almost like, wow, that was rough, but you're never like, that was nasty, It could be scary. This is a specific episode where I was just like, all right, this is kind of freaking me out. It's like, whoa, nothing Hereditary like, but
nothing is.
Yeah, no, nothing is. Unfortunately, but fortunately, nothing is. Let's just say that, like I said, my wife and I were watching it, and we ran into a couple scenes, and we're like, ooh, this is. This is actually a little bit freaky, because that particular episode it was very, very creepy. But again, well done, and it fit within, and the entire season is complete. Or at least it feels complete. And so, if they don't continue, it's fine. If they do continue, then hey, why not more? Sure, but it is. I can't say much more without really saying anything, but I am so shocked at the type of series it is. It is bold, like really bold. Like it's like one of the things you go, I don't believe they were able to get this approved. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow, I cannot believe. Yeah, I can't believe certain things. Because you see the state of the world at the moment. You just go, yeah, they're not going to let that. Oh shit. So they're really gonna. Okay, so we're really gonna confront this. To give you an example, there's this thing called sundown towns or sundown counties. Something I didn't know before the show, but the beauty of this show is that every episode I watched, I either learned something or I went to find out more about something that I already knew. Yeah, exactly. And one of them was sundown counties. Sundown counties, back in that time, 50s and stuff, were counties where during the day, black people were allowed to go about whatever. At night, they were not. And if they were, it was the citizens of the county's right to lynch them. This is a real thing. You know what I mean? And so, and this is an element that is brought up in the show. And it's, and it's, I think the episode is called Sundown. So I was like, whoa. And so that's the type of thing that's there. And like I said, it's one of those things where you go, it's this constant, you're on the edge for these characters, and you realize it's not always just, sometimes you rather them deal with monsters because everything else just feels like, it doesn't feel like you're going to win that battle. Maybe you'll win the monsters battle, and it's a shame, but at the same time, it's just so well done. And usually stuff like this, I find it difficult to watch. And here it wasn't like that. It was just so well done. I mean, I can't explain it in either way. It's just so well done. I can easily say that this is a 4 on the scale. This is a great show. And that's, I feel like it maybe could go higher, but I'm just leave it at 4. So I won't oversell it in any way. Because in the end, it's still, it still has its moments. It still has those leaps of logic a little bit, which I guess any show has. I mean, no show is going to be without that. But anyway, Lovecraft Country, guys, on HBO, and it's so far the series of my year, like the TV show for the year for me.
That's high praise.
Yeah, well, I think so.
Yeah. Considering, I mean, you watch a lot of fucking cable. I mean, I mean, to put it succinctly, you do. So
fair enough.
That is something. That is something to say.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all I've been doing. And we're back, guys, and it is time for our useless news that you can use. I'm going to go ahead and start with the biggest piece of news of the week.
Oh, wait,
maybe not the biggest.
We're not gonna talk about the trailer. We don't have a trailer this time.
Oh, okay. My bad. I don't know if we want to do it like that. All right, so let me rewind. And welcome back, guys. And it is now time for our trailer of the week. Trailer of the week. Believe it or not, this is not a new trailer, but it did just have a recent article about it on GameSpot. Trailer actually was from mid-October, but it is called Insert Coin. And what it is, it's a documentary about Midway Games. Midway, of course, is famous for such arcade titles as Mortal Kombat and NBA Jam. And it looks to be, rather interesting. Very similar to, I guess, a lot of the documentaries I've seen so far about games in general, or a specific gaming company. Masters of Doom. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what'd you think, sir?
I'm interested. I mean, I'm interested in watching it. Midway, it's definitely one of those, pillars of the arcade era. I call it an era because arcades are not a huge thing here in the United States anymore, unless you're limiting it to some Dave and Buster's somewhere. But I understand in Japan there's still a big thing. But anyway, it's one of those early publisher of some of our favorite games that came out during that generation. You just mentioned it. Mortal Kombat. You have NBA Jam.
They are the makers of a little known third person shooter that I actually remember enjoying the hell out of, and that was PsyOps. Remember PsyOps?
No, I don't remember PsyOps. I mean, I remember the name, but I don't remember
Yeah, it's a third-person shooter where you have like certain abilities. I think the main one's like telekinesis, and it came out back in 2004 is when it came out.
Oh
So,
wow, that's like late in the arcade.
well, this is not an arcade. It's just still Midway, but this was came to PlayStation 2, Xbox.
Oh,
Yeah,
then yeah. Okay, I was thinking arcade. I know exactly what you're talking about. Then yes, I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I know the game.
Yeah,
Uh,
this was actually pretty cool. Yeah, we go back to the coin up. I guess that's probably what it's going to mostly focus on,
yeah,
like Spy
the
Hunter.
beginning.
Yeah,
Oh my God, Spy Hunter was fantastic. One of my favorite games of that era.
yeah,
But also the fact that they weren't afraid of going a little bit out there. With some of the
yeah,
subject matters of their games and the level of violence. Obviously,
yeah.
we don't need to talk about Mortal Kombat. How far, but even before that, Narc was
Oh my
a
God,
game
Narc.
that
Yeah,
it was kind of bloody. It was kind
I don't
of
think that the game
nasty.
would survive today's.
No, I don't think it was a great game. It was just one of those
No,
games
I
where
don't
it
mean
was.
that. I just the topic matter in general. Just I don't think it would
Yeah.
do well here
No,
in today's
no,
time. Yeah,
definitely not. Yeah,
yeah.
this is police brutality at the
That's the
yeah
worst. Yeah, yeah.
at the worst
Um,
demonstration. What was the other one?
they did
I'll buy
NFL
that
Blitz. I
for
know
a
you didn't care
dollar.
for.
Smash TV.
Oh, Smash TV. Yeah, yeah, Smash
Oh
TV.
yeah, Smash TV. Smash TV. It, I don't know which one came first. I want to say probably Smash TV. But remember the Running Man, Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, yeah. I think I want to say. Ooh, that's a good question. Let me see. Let me look it
That's
up.
a good question. It's probably
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Go ahead and check out who it was. But I love that idea. A violent game show in a futuristic in a futuristic dystopian
Oh, I think the Running Man came out first.
I wouldn't doubt
Smash
it,
TV is a
honestly, because
1990 game. And I know that the Running Man was in the 80s. Yeah,
the Running Man was in the eight. Yes, you remember?
yeah,
Was it Electro
1987. Yeah,
Dynamo? Dynamo?
Dynamo. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes, he literally had a bunch
yeah.
of light bulbs screw into it. It's so stupid. Oh my god, that movie is great.
It is.
And
I'm not gonna lie.
they
I'm not
discover,
gonna
oh
lie.
my god, they discovered the bodies of, oh my god, this last season's winner. But no, last season's loser. That movie made a big impact on me. Anyway, so Midway's insert coin. It's a retrospective, I guess, a documentary on the Midway publishing uh, coin up success,
Yeah. Mhm.
arcade success, and I mean, and their difficulties. Back in the day, obviously, they got sued at some point by the state for violence, of the games, and that was back in the day where the whole gaming industry was, you know unregulated. Because,
Yeah, it
and
was no holds barred.
there was no ESRB,
Yeah.
back in the day, and it doesn't look like an extra, like, oh my god, you gotta see this, because it's just a focus on one company, and of course they're gonna portray it as, oh, we are the masters of the universe, and they were clearly not. I mean, they had Mortal Kombat and some good titles, but I mean, let's face it, there were no Sega all the time when it came to co-ops, coin op games. My God. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. I do want to
Yeah.
watch it.
I'll check it out for sure.
I'll check it out.
For
I'll give
sure.
it a whirl.
Giving it a whirl.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So now let's move into the useless news that, of course, you can use. And you know what? I'm going to keep it with the arcades. Yeah, since we're already talking about arcades, Sega, unfortunately, has to sell its arcade business due to COVID-19. The arcade industry has, unsurprisingly, taken a steep hit during the COVID-19 pandemic, and that's leading Sega to bow out. Eurogamer reports that Sega Hammy Holdings sold 85.1% of its Japanese arcade business, Sega Entertainment, to the amusement machine company Genda. Sega isn't shy about the reasoning. Its amusement unit has been greatly affected by coronavirus, and it wants a company that can change with the times and reduce its fixed costs. Company is expected to record extraordinary losses as part of the transfer. While there has been some recovery after the initial blow from the pandemic, the situation was still uncertain enough to prompt the sell off. Arcades won't vanish, Sega told Famitsu in an interview that customers can still visit and that it would still develop arcade games. Genda said it aimed to expand the amusement facility business, although it appears Sega plans to turn arcades into fog gaming data centers did not pan out. Interesting. So yeah, that's a little sad. It's a little sad that that's led to that.
Yeah, it makes me like, man, what's left of Sega? I mean, obviously they're a big publisher of some interesting and successful franchises for them. I can't think of anything that is like mega successful. I mean, they certainly don't have a Call of Duty or a uh, Call of Duty. Certainly not Fortnite. No, they don't have anything that is like, okay, this one game will sustain us all. But they do publish a lot of really you know good and interesting games. Off the top of my head, Yakuza 7, it's coming this week or next week, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a bunch of strategy games also that they release. And at least it's good that that part is surviving. The coin up the I can't say the word coin up. I should stick to saying arcade. The arcade side of things, however, obviously taken a huge blow because of the pandemic. They have it not haven't been voting very well. Not to mention, it hasn't arcades hasn't been a thing again in a long time. Aside from those specific places that you can go. Uh, and you just mentioned it that they try to do like they try to have arcade centers like that, and it didn't pan out. Again, COVID didn't help, so I can see why they decided to just
Well, believe
take
it or
that.
not, that's not the worst of it. This is another news from today, also from Sega.
Oh,
As Sega Sammy announced it's selling off its arcade business, the Tokyo-based game company also announced that it is asking 650 employees to retire voluntarily. With COVID-19 impacting business, Sega is expecting what it calls an extraordinary loss during the current financial year. According to the company, the global pandemic has significantly affected the business, which is why it had to sell its arcade side. However, Sega Sammy continued in its announcement in order to recover earnings as such at an early stage and achieve sustainable growth in the future. We consider that it is necessary to promote cost reductions centered on fixed expenses and build an even more efficient system, and decided to call for voluntary retirement of employees. Damn.
yeah, it's not. It's never good news to report on people losing their jobs. And man,
Yeah.
it,
Right now, it's expected that they are going to report somewhere in the vicinity of $100 million in losses for the financial year when the financial year ends in March. So that's with
that's
the release of this game coming up. So
yeah, that sucks.
that's
That I mean, they
that does,
have
yeah.
yeah. I can't believe when I was talking about recognizable franchises, I completely blanked out on Sonic. Hello, Sonic the Hedgehog.
The
It's
yeah,
there.
yeah.
It is something. It makes them money, believe it or not, whether the quality of the
Oh,
games
for
is
sure,
there or
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into. I don't know if this is any better news. BlizzCon is still a thing that will happen next year, and awkwardly they're calling it BlizzCon Line. That's a horrible name. My God, Activision, come on,
Yeah, that's pretty
BlizzCon
bad.
BlizzCon Line. That's horrible. So the upcoming BlizzCon will be entirely free to attend because you won't be able to attend, and that's why. That's according to Blizzard's president, J. Allen Brack, who said in a fireside chat video that the company's annual convention wouldn't be physically taking place this year thanks to COVID-19 pandemic, obviously, uh, but will be returning digitally next year between February 19th and 20th. And here you thought it was because they didn't have anything to show. Come on, don't be mean, don't be hating. Unlike previous years where attendees had to pay $40 to watch the bulk of the show online, this time around it will be free of charge. That's ridiculous. God damn. I can't the words I can't even put the words together. You have to pay $40 to watch announcements from a company. Oh man, I don't know.
I mean, we
Anyway,
don't know. I mean, you say that, but what
true.
were the amounts of the E3 ticket? You know what I mean? We saw it for free
You can
at
you can
home.
see exactly. You can see it at
Yeah.
home, but that's the thing. You pay $40 to be able to watch this at home.
But
Before
we were able to
attending
see.
BlizzCon was a lot more money. $40 was just watching it. Having access to be able to watch it online. And yes, they have tournaments, and that has its value. That's fair. And the Blizzard fans, of World of Warcraft and Starcraft and Overwatch and all that kind of, their title basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But not
it,
only
it
that, they
sentimental
had
value.
some sort of, I mean, yes, they didn't have to. They didn't need to have the one at home with the charge, but at the same time, it's like again, it was an event past the announcements and stuff like that.
Mm.
But there has to be some sort of something for them to, you know what I'm saying? And this is not me in any way defending Blizzard, guys, because I really can care less about Blizzard. But for the record, at the
No, and,
same
and to be
time, I'm
fair,
like, there
I
has to be
understand.
some sort of money to offset the cost of production. And
Well,
before
that's what
they
they
had
have in BlizzCon, though. You have to pay to attend to BlizzCon. I just think
yeah,
it's
but
kind of
now there's no one going to be attending BlizzCon.
no, no,
So
no.
yeah,
Yeah, and now, if anything, I will say, well, maybe you charge now, but not before, because that was the thing. They were having BlizzCon, they have that live attendees, and if you couldn't fly to BlizzCon, then to be able to watch it, you had to pay, $40. Which, again, I understand that they could have a cost, even though E3 doesn't charge for that, or anybody else for that matter that come to mind. I could be
well,
wrong.
we're not actually watching E3 either. Like, remember, we're only watching the press conference. We're not watching all the other stuff. We have to
The
tune into
coverages,
IGN and
yeah.
see. And yeah,
Well, yeah,
yeah.
but that I mean that's what you see. I mean, what else is there to what else is there to see if not the announcements and maybe the interviews with the E3 coverage is plenty.
Some may
Games
say it's too much.
coverage is yeah, exactly. Some might say it doesn't need to have days of coverage, maybe anymore. But anyway, not me being trying to be salty about paying $40. I wouldn't pay for it, but I understand that people do want to watch like the tournaments. That was a big thing. The StarCraft tournament and stuff like that, and people pay for that, and that's fine, I guess. I just think the price is a little steep. But anyway, they won't have a physical show this year, but they will have a digital presence, and that digital presence is gonna be entirely free. So that's good to hear. Um, the exec says that there will be cosplay content as well as art and storytelling competition. Previous BlizzCons have taken fans behind the scenes with panels as well as e-sport events. Fans we'll likely be seeing more of Blizzard's upcoming titles like Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2. Uh, One thing is for certain, it's uh, it's unlikely that StarCraft 2 will be making an appearance, as Blizzard said last month that it was halting development of the RTS. And yeah, we reported that already. But yeah, I will say it's a good move. Make it free. Obviously, always good. I mean, you are advertising your games after all. Uh, I will probably say it might also be the fact that there's not a lot to show. You have Diablo 4, which you have shown enough, and some might say you kind of you, you almost messed up the presentation of that the year before with the Diablo mobile game, which I guess hasn't materialized or will it ever? But
Don't know. I'm wondering where it went. I guess they were like,
I
people
don't think it
really
was
don't
loved
want
by
this.
anybody. Yeah, and Overwatch 2, obviously, it's a big thing for them. Uh, Looks more like over 1.5, but I am not there to judge. Yeah, I know they're gonna make tons of money because this is Activision. It's minimal amount of effort, maximum revenue through other means. That's how they do their thing. So good. Good.
Awesome.
I'm glad it's happening. But oh my God, please change the name.
Yeah.
BlizzCon Line sounds stupid.
Yeah. That's bad. My next
BlizzCon
piece, guys.
Online. Oh, I got it. BlizzCon Online. Oh, that's what it is. Ah, how clever.
No, not really.
No.
My next piece, guys, is
There's
so
not a lot.
it's a little bit. So let's just start. A screenshot back on November 4th was doing its rounds that suggests that PlayStation 5 only has 667 gigs of usable space.
Mhm.
So what does that mean? That means that basically when you first get the console, they had, I can't remember the actual number. It was not a terabyte, but it was like 800 and something gigs that was available. Well, of that 800 something gigs, only about 667 is available for use
Oh,
after the operating system, and of course the game, which is dear Lord, I forgot the name of it. But anyway, there's a game that comes automatically installed to
oh,
the
the
console.
yeah, I forgot the name of it, but it's a cute it's a cute interesting game demo. Not game demo. It's a game, but it also serves as a demo of the
Mhm.
capabilities of the console, which I thought it was brilliant. When I saw it, I was like, yes,
It does look good. It does
that's
look
what you
good.
want to do. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is taking up space in a console that
Ah,
apparently doesn't have that much to begin with. Now, to be fair, the 500 gigabyte PlayStation 4 that I had, with operating system, even now to this point, still has about 400 gigs. Even with all the fucking updates throughout the 7 years, I guess I've had at this point.
stability updates.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so it's not a lot. But also, PlayStation 5 won't support SSD expansion at launch, Sony confirms. The PlayStation 5 will feature the ability to expand its internal SSD with off the shelf NVMe's SSDs, but the feature will not be supported when the console launches on November 12th. So I confirm the news to The Verge, saying that it plans to introduce functionality in the future via an update. This shouldn't be surprising if you've been following Sony's plans with regards to SSD expansion since March, where Sony's Mark Cerny made it clear that the company would have to verify consumer SSDs for viability in the PlayStation 5. Quote, it'd be great if that happened at launch, but it likely to be a bit past it. So please hold off on getting any M2 drive until you hear from us, Cerny said back at the Road to PlayStation 5 briefing. So you're starting off with just 667, and you're not going to be able to expand anytime soon. So
Well, I'll say not much to panic on, considering there's probably I mean, there is content if you think about your digital games that you'll be able to download and and then obviously play your. I'm talking about your backwards compatible
backlog.
games.
Mhm.
Exactly, exactly. Uh, and and it's okay. You do want to. I mean, the way they're taking the route, which is, hey, you'll be able to buy an M.2 drive
Mhm.
of your choice, or maybe not, maybe not of your choice, but you're gonna have a variety of options because you can buy from this, let's say from this group, any of them, rather than uh, Microsoft's option, which is, well, we're gonna sell you the expansion, and this is the one available for the console. This is the one that you want to
Mhm.
be able to afford. That's not to say that you won't be able to use uh third third party uh external hard drives, but it's not the same because a third party external hard drive, my understanding is that the you're gonna have the limitations of the speed of the USB transfer rate rather than the expansion drives, which is almost like, well, you're just adding another drive. Uh, Actually, not, I'm thinking about it as I'm speaking on it, and it doesn't sound right. So don't quote me on that. I could be spreading misinformation for all I know, but it could be they're locking it down. But I don't. I prefer the PlayStation's idea of open or uh, buy whichever M.2 drive, which is basically another format for an SSD drive, and you can use that as to expand the capabilities rather than uh, we, we're going to use this proprietary interface because Microsoft had demonstrated time and time again that the proprietary interface expansion hard drives have always started at a high price and they never go down, even when the price of drives has gone down. And in this case, the SSDs prices have fluctuated and they're going to go down. They're going to be, lower because they have been trending on
Mhm.
that fashion. So you get a better chance of buying a higher capacity, as long as it's supported by PlayStation 5. You have a better route to upgrade there that you might have on Xbox Series S. So I'm not too concerned with the availability not being there, early. I want to make sure that they test that shit well, and they're obviously saying it's coming. So I am more excited, and I realize I don't think either one of us put it on our news pieces, but I wanted to talk about this because it came out recently, and it's a report from Digital Foundry, uh, pretty much certifying that the backward compatibility features of PlayStation 5 are more than okay, are fantastic. Quoting,
Oh.
to quote them, and that gets me excited for the console because I one of the things that I appreciated about the Xbox Series S um, is the fact that you can visit your previous games, and they did work on some of them, on some of them. I'm not saying on all of them, but even the ones that they didn't make any improvements, like they didn't necessarily touch to bring improvements on, they will just run better. They will look better. The machine knew how to do its upscaling and whatnot to give them, so almost like a remaster touch
Mm.
to
Nice.
to them, and I like that. I like that idea. Games that maybe not ran super well on Xbox One. Uh, Now they run phenomenal with a lock rate of either 60 frames per second if it allowed it, or if it was locked at 30, then you were getting a consistent 100% consistent solid 30 frame per second experience, and that was awesome. And Sony side, in the meantime, they were kind of cagey talking whenever they were referred to to their backwards compatibility. First, it was like, well, it's going to be a certain amount of games, and then it was like, well, it is this list, and then they went ahead, oh, it's almost almost the entire catalog of PlayStation 4 games, but almost, here's a list of 10 random games that don't work, and and you were like, what? And like, what are you doing?
The
Like,
most random
I
10 games I've ever heard. I was like,
yeah, for no
really?
reason. Some of them
That's
for
so
no
odd.
reason because it's like, well, this is Unreal Engine and 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 it's a small game. Like, why wouldn't it run? So it was completely random. I feel like, if anything, they were failing on the communication side of things. And
For
now
sure.
I look at it, and I'm like, well, I'm glad that it was just a communication, because they obviously the guys at Digital Foundry, you can definitely trust them for objective reviews, or rather, technical analysis of the systems. So you can count on them to tell you the truth. When there's problems, are problems. They didn't say it was perfect, but the way that they describe it, it was like, oh, this is almost toe to toe with the offering of Xbox. Except that with Xbox you can go generations back, and here they're just demonstrating like compatibility with PS4 titles. But I will argue that that's most of the games that you will care to go back to play. Uh, and they were showing some of these games, uh, demonstrations of these games of like, oh, I don't know. Tell me the samurai one that you were playing the other day. Ghost of
Ghost of
Tsushima,
Tsushima? Yeah.
for example, they will show that, and other titles, and they will see how on PS4 it'll be not only the frame rate but also the frame time. Frame time affects how the game feels. Uh, Arguably even more so the frame rate, but they're related too, because it's all about refreshing how the game looks on your screen, right? Well, it'll show how some games will dip into, if they were targeting 60, some games will sometimes dip into like 40s and sometimes even further, and how that was noticeable. I'm talking about in general. Though Ghost of Tsushima was an example that they show of. Well, now look at this game running at a perfect, solid frame rate, and frame time at the same time. And it was amazing because it almost gives new life to games that ran on PS4 that you'll be like, man, I remember I enjoyed this game. Now it runs so much better. It's almost like, even if they're not like super touching the graphics or anything like that, like Series S is doing, because, sorry, Series X is doing, because S is not doing that. I mean, not to the extent that X is, but you get to see the games running how the developers probably intended them to look, and it gets me excited, man, because it means all those PS4 titles now they run solidly, they run
Yeah, I
amazing.
can't wait to play the BioShock collection over again.
I do. At a,
I
s-
can't wait. Yeah.
at a solid, does that have limited? I mean, because here's the thing, it's not gonna magically turn a locked 30 frames per second game into a 60 frame, unless the developers were to release a patch that unlocked the frame rate, right? And that was, I think,
Maybe.
the
Yeah.
show. I think it might have been Shadow, one of the Tomb Raider games that were showing an example of, okay, this game is locked at 30, and therefore it's going to run at a solid 30, and that frame time is going to be near perfect.
Hmm.
Um, but and the
But it's
machine
not going to go
certainly has
any
the
higher
power.
there because it's been locked. Yeah.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. But those games that were intended to reach 60, but for some reason it will dip on some areas, like like the Crisis Remastered that they released recently, they were showing that running perfectly at 60, and I was like, man, that
Mm.
is awesome, because I feel like that is, I almost feel like that was the thing that the Xbox had in their sleeve is like, oh, but we had. If anything, while we wait for the new games for all the studios that Microsoft have now, apparently we can dig back into our back catalog and replay this game almost remastered or whatever. It's like, oh no, Sony can actually do that too, and do it very well, do it exceptionally well. That makes me think like, man, I'm kind of glad now that I waited to play games like Last of Us 2, for example, and Ghost of Tsushima, and all those games that now I get to play like the ultimate versions of them. That is, if I ever secure a PlayStation 5 in
Yeah, yeah.
the next
And
5 to 10
even start
years.
any of those games, for the record.
Was that?
And even start any of those games.
And even that's true. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
To be fair, though, as much as I'm like, oh, yes, I can definitely see that would be whatever. I have to say, I mean, playing Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, they weren't far off. You know what I mean? They didn't fall far from the needle. Control, maybe. Or Control,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, Control,
I can
definitely.
definitely see playing that in the updated version, even if
Yeah.
it's just the regular, not the whatever carryover shit or whatever upgraded shit. Just that it takes advantage of the actual console.
Of the power of it, yeah.
But I
It
can
makes
definitely
it.
tell you, yeah, man, Last of Us 2, and I told you, Last of Us 2 has already really surprising load times, which I was just like, whoa, this is not like the first Last of Us. These guys have figured this shit shit
Yeah.
out.
That's another thing that they were showing, the load times. And let me tell you, just like it feels like, you know Sony's stealing a page from the Xbox bullet point, the highlight bullet point highlights. uh Microsoft has the load times too. All right.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Oh no, they
people
do.
have not talked about it, and I'm surprised that they haven't like said much about it.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I've
granted,
seen
it's
it.
probably not
Yeah.
as robust as Sony's next gen titles are gonna be when they're running on those SSDs. But some of the gameplay and the load times on Xbox Series X
I think
have
it's
been like
yeah. I think it's
amazing.
clear. I think it's clear that regardless of which console you have, the days of being stuck under 60 frames per second, the days of long load times
Mhm.
are behind us. It's just like
Yeah.
we've reached that point. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, finally, it only took multiple consoles because it's not like there haven't been games and developers who have been able to pull 60 out of every game they make. You know what I mean? But hello, Kojima. You know what I mean? It's like all those
Yeah.
games run really well. So what the hell's wrong with the rest of you guys?
Consoles are
But at
powerful
this
enough to
point,
run it now. Although,
yeah.
don't worry, Ubisoft will still find a way of locking their games to 30 because they want to up the ante on the graphics.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. They're
nobody
going to be
will
the
notice.
first ones to go 8K when nobody has 8K. So that's
Or
going to be their
yeah,
deal. Yeah, that's going to
yeah,
be their deal.
yeah.
All right, guys. My last piece, keeping it on the PlayStation 5 train. Just so you guys know, this is probably more personal to me. I would love to know in the comments if anybody else feels this happy about this. But I'm reading this all off of Polygon, so it's going to be coming from this particular writer, Samit Sakar. He says, I'll never know exactly what it's like to be left-handed, but I do have an idea because I am one of those many gamers, albeit minority apparently, who inverts the y-axis. Well, I am thrilled to report that at long last, we're being acknowledged by Sony on the PlayStation 5. Folks like us loved one specific Xbox 360 option. This was back in the 360. The ability to have the console automatically tell games that they wanted to play the game inverted y-axis. This lets you avoid the hassle of having to flip that switch yourself in the options of every individual games, making lives just easier all around. Something that unfortunately Xbox One skipped, and apparently Xbox Series X also is not going to have. But the
Boo.
PlayStation 5 does have that option, along with what you mentioned earlier, the subtitles, auto subtitles, and auto Y access. Yay!
Yay! That is
The
really, really
future
good.
is here. The
That
future is
yeah,
here.
that is. I mean, about time, right? I never understood the changing of the y-axis, and if you try to
You
explain,
don't have
I know
to.
you
I
try
know.
to explain to me, but it just, but that's fine. It makes sense, and options are always better. Uh, and but no, I did not know that Xbox had that as a feature on the 360, and then they abandoned it. And the subtitle thing, I'm very glad. Excuse me. I'm very glad to see that they have finally set that up as as an option that you can just turn on the console and leave it. I want to say I remember the 360 also
Also
having
doing
that.
that.
Yeah, but
It's possible.
it's possible. Yeah, I want to say that this probably was, and it's great because I don't particularly love starting a game and just remember having to remember, forgetting about setting subtitles and be like, oh man, now I have to wait until the long intro goes without subtitles. And not that I need them 100% because I understand the dialogue, but sometimes it's better to have them. I'm already used to watching stuff with subtitles because that's how I learned to expand my vocabulary. God knows that I don't read books, even though I like them. I don't read books. So, but also because sometimes things can get a little technical or weird, and I'd rather not miss it.
I'm the same way.
So
I'm the same way. And I was literally, you say that, and it's exactly what happened when I was playing Observation. It was just like it starts off, there's audio happening, there's no words on the freaking screen. Luckily I can
yeah.
pause it even in the cutscene
Oh,
to
good.
turn it on. But it was just like, man, if it was just on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
like for instance, Netflix, you turn it on, it's always on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like everything plays with it. You know what I mean? HBO, same
it should
thing.
be
You know,
more
it's
like
just like
that.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what? And another next generation option that I want to see applied for every game consistently, being able to pause uh on the
Anywhere,
but anyway,
anywhere.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
On
Hmm.
cutscenes specifically, and I want to see that. I'm. Oh, does that? How many times my wife will walk into the room to tell me something, and I have to give, I have to give her. I was gonna say I have to give her the finger. That sounds horrible, but I
No,
mean
I know
like
what you mean though.
the pointing finger. I saying that. Hold on, give me 1 second, because I don't know if I can pause this or not. And sometimes, and I hate when games do this, motherfucker. I hate when the games do this. You press the start button and it skips.
Yeah,
It's like that's not what
auto
it's
skip.
for. That
Yeah.
is not what it's for. It's a pause button. Pause the freaking thing. Uh,
In the
and
defense, I haven't seen that happen recently. Pretty much,
maybe not,
pretty
but the
much
fact that it has
most of
happened
the games
before
had.
has
Yeah,
me
no,
all
yeah.
PTSD already.
I get you. I get you because I'm the same exact way. And that's the worst part. It's just like some games there is like no way of getting that information back. You're just like
Yeah,
you have to
no,
literally kill yourself now.
yeah.
Hopefully, it didn't autosave at the end of the scene. You know what I mean? And then go back.
Oh my god, I have
Because
quit
it's
games
like you got to
because
be
of that.
kidding me.
I
Yeah,
have quit games when that because of something like that happening. It's like, come on, developers. Like, sure,
figure
time as
that shit
hell.
out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
figure
Figure that
by
shit out.
now you should have that shit done. But yeah, I'm happy to hear that subtitles are uh, a a console level option, not a game level option. Because I hate having to fish for the option. Sometimes it'll be under the sound settings. Sometimes they'll put it under the game settings, the gameplay settings. Sometimes they'll put it on the accessibility settings. So there's not a consistency, on games, and sometimes they have a hidden between in menus within menus. It's like, what the hell, guys? Just come on. Just make it a closed caption option. Turn on and off. That's it.
Hmm.
My last piece, because there hasn't been a lot of it uh, this week. Godfall is a 6-month PS5 exclusive. and talking about specific game being exclusive is how you can tell that there's not a lot of news. Godfall is console exclusive for PS5 for 6 months after launch, at which point it'll be free to head to other platforms. That was a launch trailer released recently that at the end of its runtime says also available on PC, not available on other consoles until at least 5 or May 12th of 21. Godfall will be available on PC as well as PS5 at launch, November 12th. But this news suggests that it may also be coming to the Nintendo Switch. No, not the Nintendo Switch. I don't.
Yeah, I
I
was
mean,
gonna
they
say,
haven't
wow.
discarded the option, but obviously, it's
I mean,
not
they
gonna be
have a
coming
cloud
to
option
Xbox.
now, so maybe it's possible.
Oh, wow, oh, that's true. Maybe, yeah. But it suggests Xbox or other platforms. Um, after the time exclusivity deal is up on May 12th of 2021. So yeah, I mean, not huge news. I honestly, to be honest, I don't know what the hype is for this game. I understand it's as a launch title. It might be a day one for many PS5 players, but it might be a day one because it's a launch game. You know what I mean? It's like what
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
get? Well, you get Spider-Man, Mike Morales, obviously, and what else?
Demon Souls. Hello, come
No,
on
no, no,
now.
I know,
Yeah,
but I'm saying of the launch titles, you want to show off your game. You grab maybe 3 games, so maybe this is the third one you get.
maybe,
Who knows? Yeah, maybe.
maybe.
And finally, controls controversial next gen version has been delayed to 2021. The Ultimate Edition, they said, it's sad that we had to call it controversial. Control is a great game, but they made the decision not to let you upgrade. They don't give you an upgrade path if you already own Control. If you want this version, you have to shell out the money for the PS5 version. But that's okay because you can play the PS4 version very well. Thanks to PlayStation 4 newly revised backwards compatibility, which is good.
It is.
Pretty
It
good.
is. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Everything I have just immediately carries over. That's awesome.
that's awesome.
All right, guys. We'll stay tuned. We'll be right back with our hot topic. All right, guys, we are back, and it's time for our hot topic of the week.
You know who I admire and respect a lot? Jeff Gersman, man. I tell you,
Oh,
he might be a cuthead, but he tells it like he sees it.
he
You
is a
know,
cothead, isn't he? He loves him some Call of Duty, that guy,
loves Call
man.
of Duty so
Jeez.
much. You gotta admire that passion for Call of Duty, and every other game is shit. But hey, Call of Duty, man, every year.
Every year, that's on his damn list, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Shout out to Jeff
Uh,
Gershman, even though he doesn't listen to the show. Fuck that guy.
oh, yeah, that you know of. I mean, we got a pack. I listen to Giant Bomb if he listens what's that?
Oh,
What's the
okay.
name of our show? Oh, the mouthful.
Oh
There
my
you
God, the mouthful. What is wrong with you?
go. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Oh
I'm
man,
tired. I haven't slept in 4 days. I've been watching election coverages until 3 in the morning every day.
I hear
I don't
you,
know what to do
sir.
with
I hear
myself
you.
anymore.
I don't agree.
I want to play something. I want to play
Well,
something.
before we get into play something, let's get into hot topic here,
Okay,
which again
fine.
it is
If we
PC
must.
versus Xbox Series X versus PlayStation 5, and again, it's really more about hey,
We should take console versus next gen versus PC. If anything.
okay, so next gen versus PC. Yeah, there you go. It's too late. It's already called what we called it a moment ago, but
Go
yeah.
go
So
back and
essentially,
fix it.
yeah, essentially, as you mentioned, it's really more to do about, has console come to the point where you really don't need to go into a a PC,
Hmm.
unless you're really going to
At
the
expense, at a
yeah,
point
the
expense,
massive
because
expense of a PC, unless
yeah,
you're literally trying to be at the edge of technology, which in that case you still kind of, that's the only way you're going to get there.
yeah, yeah, of course, yeah,
But yeah, so
yeah.
talk to me, sir.
This is
This was your
this is something
particular
that,
topic.
well, this is something that, and I'll be honest, I kind of got um the impetus to talk about it from an article that I saw. I want to say it was in Kotaku. Although I better check my sources. I will hate to miss who it was, but
What was it, the PlayStation 5 like specs or performance?
no. See, I told you to read it. I
Oh,
told
you
you to
sent
read
it
it
to me.
so we can talk about it.
Oh, it's the one you
Uh,
sent to me. Oh, okay, okay, okay.
yeah,
Got you, got you.
yeah. Which basically, okay, here it is. See, I knew I was gonna mess it up and I didn't, and I so apologize for it. It's not Kotaku. It's actually from Polygon. There's
Mm.
an article. It's a very interesting read. Came out on November 5th. Called "Console or PC." This fall, the choice is simple, and uh, but it kind of answers. Not, no, it doesn't definitely answers it, or at least I didn't get that from the article. It makes it makes for a good conversation of, hey, for the longest time, uh, at the beginning of gaming, let's say, or since we're gonna go to the longest time, at the beginning of gaming, while being the 8-bit and the 16-bit era, it was consoles were king, right? Only in
Mm.
Europe, PC gaming had the traction, and believe me, it was because of consoles were reaching there for like X or Y reason, because the games that they were getting on PC, it was rough. There was no Contra, there was no or at least not decent version of it. And
And the games also belong to were locked behind, a lot of the games anywhere were locked behind these consoles. They didn't come. You couldn't make them come to PC. So it was
no, no,
like,
no,
well, yeah,
exactly. So
yeah.
what you will get will be like bootleg versions of it or homemade version. People will program them, and sure, I remember I had my Commodore 64 and I played my version of Contra, and I was very happy with it, but there's no way that it was going to compare to the NES version of Contra. it was
Mhm.
it was like night and day. I might as well be playing an Atari. uh and it was like that for the longest time. On or at the beginning, it was consoles. You saw, if you wanted to play something, if you were a gamer, you wanted to play on consoles. And then I feel like it wasn't until almost the era, I want to say, and this is me being arbitrary with the dates, but I want to say it was close to the early 2000s, where with the avenue of graphics card of 3D processing graphics cards, uh, that you could the consumer could buy and plug into to their own PCs. That we started seeing an emergence of PC games,
Mhm.
um, because PC gaming was there, but again, you will have PlayStation, the original PlayStation, and PlayStation 2 was started to coming out, and you couldn't get that level of fidelity on PCs unless, because there was no dedicated chip for it. They started
Yeah.
doing those chips later on, with the 3D effects company, and then the other graphic video card manufacturers. So all of this to say that coming into the latter years, the 2010s and stuff like that, and and you started to see growth in PC gaming, uh, as almost it was already established, but it took Steam to kind of like bring it together to one spot almost,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say
that's
I
when
think Steam is really what like launchpad that shit.
it kind of consolidated. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that was around the time that Half-Life 2 was coming out. So there were already games that were interesting that were out, but there was no, we still couldn't say, oh, this competes with console. This will be a different experience than in console. Yes, it was, but I wouldn't say it was competing like, you weren't getting a lot of ports from console titles to PC. There were some, you know, Prince of Persia. It's one of the ones that come to mind, but there were not a lot of those. Uh, Now, or lately, with the 360 era and or PS3, and then Xbox One and PS4 and stuff like that. Obviously, there is you get a bunch of titles on consoles and a bunch of titles on PCs, and some of them are they come to, some PC games come to consoles and vice versa, and you have this competition almost. If I don't know if I don't know if I would call it well, yeah. I guess you could say it's a competition, but it's a little lopsided, right? Because the barrier of entry for PC is it has always been kind of like
It's high.
it's too high.
Yeah,
It's high. It's
yeah, it's
definitely
hard to get into PC,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. Definitely.
It's really
And
if it's really cost aside, I think cost personally is less of an issue now in my life. I can probably just like if I and this is not me trying to brag or anything like that, but I'm just saying if I was to say like out of the blue, you know what, it's time. Let's get into this. I can probably put together something anywhere between the 15 to the 2000 range.
oh,
Just
less.
that.
Oh yeah, less than that. I would say. I mean,
No, what I'm
at
saying, I would be able to
1500.
afford something. Yeah, I would. That's
Oh
kind of
yeah,
my affordability at the moment. Where like I can probably do something like that.
and at
Um,
that level, you're getting a god tier system.
that's what I'm
It's
saying. Yeah, yeah,
definitely
yeah. So
it will
the
definitely be something that we'll be able to run everything and anything and everything. Not to mention have it also as a productivity tool on the house.
correct,
For everything.
correct, yeah. For everything
Uh,
else,
yeah.
my only so that the cost, even though again it's still not cheap, the cost has become something that's not that unattainable anymore. However, um, console to me is still. I mean, I say this all the time. I tell you, when I was playing Dragon Age Origins, you know what I mean. I was like, I'm getting into this, and I run into something, and now I have to go searching forums
And now
for.
it's time to
Let me,
troubleshoot and yeah,
yeah, and all this, and it's just like that's not gaming to me.
yeah,
Gaming to me is here's the game. It is 99.9% guaranteed to work, not 100% because there's always some failure rate somewhere. It's more than likely it's going to run fine, and I don't have to worry about that because they're certified. They're really, for the most part, certified to do so. So that's the part of me where I'm just like, as much as I feel it may be time for me to really just invest in one and take the leap. That is the one major thing that I still hold off on
oh yeah,
because it's just like I don't have the patience for stuff like that.
yeah,
I am one who is like, the person, if something breaks down, it's like, okay, who do I pay to fix it? Because I'm not going to fix it. You know what I'm saying? That's my immediate answer. Because I'm not going to sit here and work. I'm not going to break my head on it because I have zero patience when it comes to as calm and collected as a lot of people feel about me. Is when it comes to shit like that, I have zero patience. Like, nope, done. Nope. Fifteen
Or
hundred dollar computer down the drain. I'm throwing it out because it's not working.
if it measures in any way your sway to consider it, I'll be glad to offer you my personal and direct technical support expertise
Well, I'm going to
to
be honest with you.
troubleshoot.
Little do you know, if I ever venture into this, that's a given. Like you are on speed dial, my friend. It's like, dude, something's not working. Team viewer this shit right now. You know?
I'm glad you're mentioning that because absolutely I feel like the thing with the thing with PC gaming, although yes, you're absolutely right. I feel now has been more affordable. I will say that than ever to put something together uh, that will be performance wise ahead of whatever it's you're getting on next gen now. If you care about the performance, and I feel like a lot of PC gamers or people that decide to jump into that route, um, I don't think they're necessarily thinking on the exclusivity of titles, because I'll tell you one thing: there are a lot more PC games coming out than what you see announced out there. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
you
Full
just have
hard
to
games. Yeah.
you just go to see. Now, granted, not everything is a
Yeah.
triple
It's a
A
lot of
or a
shovelware.
nice but there are some hidden gems that I have not been aware because there have been no marketing whatsoever. And then you go into Steam and you start checking out and overwhelming reviews. It's like, how did I not heard about this Chinese J or a Chinese RPG? I was gonna say Chinese JRPG. That sounds horrible.
I know. I was going to say, whoa.
Chinese RPG,
Everyone in
title
China is like yelling at you right now.
that is like it's like it's almost like what we wanted. What was that? But BioWare game that kind of reminds you of Crunchy Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Jade Empire.
Oh,
It's almost
Jade
like
Empire.
Jade Empire, and we've always wanted to get a sequel to Jade Empire. There's something like that. It's out there. You can buy it and you can play it now. Has not have gotten no coverages, but have gotten very good reviews. And it'll be like something original that you're playing that probably nobody else knows about. So but still that's not the focus, because it'll just be too there's no way to focus shit is coming out every day.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think the people that jump into the PC gaming is because they're pursuing that, the performance portion of it, if they're not wanting to play Fortnite. And for the longest time that has been the benefits, as far as, well, you get faster loading times than on consoles. You get higher resolutions, and you get your choice of peripheral, whichever way you want to control, because yes, you get keyboard and mouse, which is quote unquote more precise, or not quote unquote. It's a fact. It's a fucking mouse. Of course it needs to be precise. The question is, does it need to for the game that you're playing? And all that kind of stuff was always the where the elite, where the PC elitist, me including myself, uh, will stand on the ground, right? Like, well, you could get all of this on PC gaming versus the consoles. No, the consoles are it's just limited, Now I don't I know I joked about just like I don't like the term console peasants, even though I have used it, but in a joking way. But also at the same time, I shouldn't be, because that, first of all, is demeaning. Second of all, there's a lot of amazing console titles that you will not get on PC. Uh, Even if you start seeing a few, like Horizon
Here and
Zero
there,
Dawn, for
yeah.
example, and here and there, there's some titles. But the thing is, we've come to this present time where we got the next generation of consoles not just wanting to deliver uh, a leap in graphics, you know, because
Hmm.
oh yeah, PCs can do ray tracing now, which is the new thing, you know. Well, guess what? Consoles are delivering that, but also delivering on every other aspect or most of the aspects that PCs were using as a defense, which is faster loading time because they have SSDs, uh, and not content with just that, but they're also leaping ahead of in technologies that you don't have on on PC just yet. And I'm talking about like the very interesting uh, what do you call tactile feedback that you get on like the PlayStation 5 controller, but also on the quality of life, on the technologies. Like we were talking about simple things. You know, oh, what if all the games could get the automatically have the language, not the language, but the closed caption, the subtitles turned on,
Yeah.
or the way that I prefer to set up my controller, you know? Or what if I'm playing a game and I just want to like suspend it there and just jump real quick into another one, and or suspend it there, go to Netflix or whatever, suspend that and go back to my game and pick up exactly where I left off without having to reboot the title again. And those special things, and there's others. You're gonna have to help me in remembering them because I don't have them all at the top of my head. But those little quality of life things are really showing that perhaps we don't necessarily have to spend that money
Splurge. Yeah.
on a high end gaming system, because we're getting we're getting that experience. And of course, let's be real, these consoles are uh glorified mini PCs, but there
Hmm.
are specialized PCs. They don't have to worry about, well, this is being used for a thousand different things or whatever. You can use it for to work and for your Excel files and for graphics and design and for all that crap on of course you can bring games on it. uh, but then you have the problem with compatibility with games and stuff like that, versus, oh, every PlayStation 5 will run every PlayStation 5 game on it, and backwards compatible even without a hitch, right? Unless if you start getting a hitch, it's probably because the console it's broken itself. It's not a compatibility issue, because just like you mentioned, these games are certified. It goes through a certification process. Academic
Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You in PCs, you don't see that. Yes, they certainly get support from the chip manufacturers, and that's not always, because not everybody has not every game developer can reach out to Nvidia, for example, and say, hey, can you help us optimize this, or train us or give us an idea on how we can optimize it for your design? Because guess what, Nvidia is not the only uh, uh, graphic chip designer for PC. There's also others, and that's a problem, because you run into this compatibility issues that you don't have to worry about on
On
console.
the console. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the honestly and to be fair, like I said, I mean, in the end, you can figure out what we need to do to optimize it on your PC to figure out how to get things running, but it's just it's an additional burden that as a gamer, as a console gamer, primarily, um I don't have, and I don't want to have. I just wanted to go and whatever. And so now I have to agree. Now that we are at the point where these consoles are basically on par with with many PCs. Maybe again, not your what is it, the bleeding edge. Okay, so it's not on the bleeding edge. You obviously still have other ones that would, but you don't have those games. Particularly if you're going into the Sony camp, because it's just games that are not available anywhere else. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Xbox unfortunately doesn't have anything major at the moment, but it still has quite the beefy uh system. And on top of that, you mentioned the little quality of life, like the quick resumes,
Previous was
the different.
amazing.
Yeah, and that's something PlayStation 5 does not have. Contrary to what the video may have appeared like,
Really?
quick resume is very specific to the last few games that you may have been playing, as opposed to PlayStation 5, where it's the last one game, maybe two or something like that. It's not the same. It's not
It's
similar. It's
still
not
enough.
even.
I'll still be happy with something like that. It's not like I'll be Well, maybe I'm the wrong case because I do juggle games, but for the most part, I don't see how it couldn't be implemented via firmware.
Yeah.
Um,
And then on top of that, does it really matter now? It's like, okay, so quick
True.
resume means you drop right back into the spot. But if you're not really in the spot anymore, so all you really have to do is sit through the quick opening thing, the splash screens, and boom, you're back in the game because of
It's
these
gonna load
immediate
fast because it
load
has an
times. Yeah,
SSD.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it really isn't that big. It's not really a huge loss anyway. But that's the whole deal. The deal is these consoles are now on par with a lot of them. And so throw into that the games. I mean, you can do Game Pass on PC as well, so that's
Yeah.
obviously something there. But still, it's like
There
it's
was
not.
technologies. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, we're gonna say, yeah, you can do Game Pass on PC, but you still need the PC to do so. So or you can fucking do the $299 Series S, which is I'm still looking at, my friend. Let me tell you, I'm still looking at, and I think you posted the review. The review said this is the Game Pass machine. I'm like,
Yeah.
done. Here it is.
That's what it's described.
Done.
Yes.
I was like, yeah. I mean, granted, you have a lot of games that I probably won't play on Game Pass. Fine. But there's so many available there immediately that I'm like, I can try it. I don't need it to be 4K. 1440 works for me. You know what I mean? It's like,
Or
I'm all
even
right with that.
1080. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's at 60. I'm fine with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Shoot.
yeah. Suddenly you have another place where you can build another library of games that maybe you wouldn't have had access to
Dude, let me
because
tell
for
you,
X or Y reason
at
wasn't available.
299, at 299, that is a steal. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like it is almost on par with the PlayStation 4 being 399 back in 2013. It's almost on par. That's like, that is just, it doesn't make sense that it's that low.
Yeah.
And this one here, I mean, obviously there's no disk drive. It does not go up as high as far as 4K or anything like that. Fine. There's still a lot of people without 4K TVs, believe it or not. So it's the perfect. Honestly, I can see those flying off the shelves, bro. I can see
Oh
those
yeah.
selling more than Xbox Series X, like
Oh yeah,
outselling
for
it
sure.
in soon. I don't know if it's outselling it now, but I can
Mhm.
see it outselling it pretty quickly at $299, and you don't really have any reason to jump to the Series X just yet because there's no marquee title.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm derailing this. I'm sorry. I'm just saying
No,
that
no,
the
no, no, no.
299 really
It's
has my eye.
100%.
But the 299 is another example. The Series S is, I keep calling it the 299. The Series S is another example of how you don't need that $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 PC to get you know really well crafted, well running, well performance
Mhm.
games, and then a lot of them, because you can immediately get a library right there. You obviously, well, you don't immediately, you still have to pay for the service, but still you have access to it and you can just put it in there. So
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And it so it's suddenly a very low barrier of entry
Hmm.
that has you enjoying some of the latest titles that are out. So some might say, because one of the arguments that are still on the PC side is, it's yes, I know, Microsoft and Sony They do their flash sales here and there, but they still don't compare to the deals that you could get on PC games on a lot of sectors. And yeah, sometimes I wouldn't say it's 100% legit in all places. Places like Green Man Gaming, for example, is completely legit, and they could give you, they release games. Sometimes they give you, 20%, and sometimes even higher for brand new games that are coming out. And there are some other places that I'm not gonna mention names that give you gray area, prices like really, really low, and you actually have the game. It's all digital because PC is all,
It's all
it's, I
digital.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, for the most part, I would say they have already moved. Like, you don't hear about a lot of people buying computers with CD-ROMs anymore. So the whole thing is digital. So I guess that's a plus if you still like to collect media for
Yeah,
some
that's another.
although the
That's
consoles are
also
going media. I mean
yeah.
digital
That's
also.
exactly, and that's also another factor that's being brought into this particular console generation that
Hmm.
also meets the PC in the sense that no, we don't. You don't need this. You don't need. Who needs a disc anymore?
Yeah,
It's all digital at this point. It's like
it is
PC's already been there for what maybe
since
decades at this point. Yeah,
2004.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
or
so
before that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And
so it's finally, yeah, I agree. It's finally on par. At least
it is
now, for the moment,
the
you know.
the barrier of the barrier of entry, like I was mentioning, it is very low, and like I was saying, even though you can still you will say, oh, but you can still find better deals on PC games when when you buy games. That's not necessarily the case anymore. If you have Game Pass, you
True.
have a huge catalog that you just
Yeah.
get from day from day one,
Yeah.
and
There's
there's
no
more than
ifs,
enough
ands, or
games.
buts about Game Pass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And,
And yeah, you still get, you still want to get your brand new game that, but if it's a brand new game from the first party, guess what? They just made it free. They made
yeah,
it
yeah.
really
It
free.
made part of the service you're already paying
Which is
for. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So what is, I mean, what does, what at what point does it feel like, well, I still want the performance of the PC? Because I'm thinking, I I have a powerful PC. Uh, I'm a tinkerer though. I like the aspect of putting together, my computer. I understand not a lot of people are gonna appreciate that, and I could tell you, even if I like a tinker, I don't like the aspect of having to look for ways of fine tuning the games. There are people that are. I'm not one of them. I just want my games to, to run, and for the most part, I'm successful. But every now and then, I get hiccups. Like, look at my latest experience with Doom Eternal, a game that runs on everything but a Tamagotchi. And now, for some reason, even on my computer, which has an NVIDIA 3080 in it, I'm having troubles running Doom Eternal.
Hmm.
uh, and that's a game that I can just plop into the console, and I don't have to worry about that issue no more. I know that I guarantee this will be running. uh, it'll have a certain cap, but it will guarantee me gameplay time versus troubleshooting time that I will have to go, on
Exactly.
PC,
Yeah.
which it takes away, especially nowadays that I found, we find ourselves with less and less time. The little bit of gaming time that we might have, you don't want to spend it having to, you know, download the optimized drivers for this game, and trying to figure out what the best settings are. I feel like with all the technology that PC has, it has still yet figured that shit out. It still haven't gotten to the part where I can just put this game and the game will know exactly uh, what my setup is, and it'll run, because it's impossible. There are billions, and there are billions of different configurations. It's never
Hmm.
gonna be exact. Whether a console, even when it has a revision, it's still the same architecture.
Yeah,
It's
still
still a
and still
solid
the same
architecture.
revision throughout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you something. The game the graphics chips on these consoles, the architecture is based on the architecture of the latest AMD design that is going to be coming out on PC. That chip is powerful as fuck.
Mm.
That chip is kind of amazing, and it will be. And granted, you give it 2 years, PC it will surpass that because
Of course. Yeah,
it's just
of course.
Moore's law. But does it matter at that point? I mean, we're talking about running games at 60 frames per second, 4K, 120 Hz. Oh, and by the way, variable refresh rate, which is a thing of it was a thing of PCs, where you don't have to worry about the uh what's that what is that called, tearing, graphic
Hmm.
graphical tearing on your games. Guess what? Oh, now the consoles do that. The consoles have become beasts of a machine. That's why they are expensive. Yes, I get. Actually, you know what? It sounds like they're expensive. I should rephrase that. It sounds like they're expensive, but when you factor in what you're getting for that money, dude, they're practically giving them away to you. It's
Pretty
the
much. Yeah,
it's the subsidy for you to get in, so that you can get into the ecosystem, so you can buy their games.
because that's where they make money.
That exactly. So do we need, and I'm kind of surprised, honestly, to even hear you say, "Oh, the thought has crossed my mind."
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it
hey,
has.
could this be the time? Um, it makes me wonder, like, okay, so what does PC have? What is the advantage of PC gaming on it? Because we're already familiar with the advantages of the consoles of this generation. We mentioned it, uh, just recently. We have those exclusives that they're not gonna come out on PCs. Although let's be fair, on the Microsoft side, all their exclusives are gonna come out on PC because Microsoft also are the makers of Windows, and Windows is what runs on every gaming PC. What I would call a gaming PC. If you want to give me an argument for gaming on Linux, that's on you. High five. But I don't know if that's really a thing. But on what you call it, on Sony, just because we're starting to see a couple of titles here and there, and they're kind of dipping their toes, doesn't necessarily mean that Sony is just ready to release those titles. Mike Morales, Spider-Man Mike Morales on PC. I would love to, because I can still choose to play on widescreens and super widescreen monitors, which is something the consoles are not offering right now yet, probably because nobody has a ridiculously stretched TV.
I mean, true. Yeah, for sure.
that might be an advantage if you want to give it there.
That is an advantage. Yeah,
Those
that's
weird,
an advantage.
those weird resolutions,
Yeah.
but what else? I mean, at this point in the game, aside from the, yes, performance, also you'll get performance on PC, but we already told you about the caveats of that. It's like making a hot rod. It's like putting together a hot rod yourself versus buying yourself a comfortable. I won't even say Toyota at this point. I will say BMW.
Some
Yeah,
sort of
you're
midsize.
getting
Yeah, it could be a Jetta. But Jettas are good. You know what I mean? So
yeah, yeah. Well, I was trying to class it up a little bit, a little bit more.
wow. Okay, I didn't realize Jettas were slumming it, but okay.
Yeah.
Uh, No, I agree. I agree.
Jedi are slumming it. No, no, no. Apologies for anybody that owns a Jedi. I like Jedis. Not the last one, the last few ones, but yeah.
No, I agree. I agree that the lines have blurred. And I think definitely, and I have to agree with the article the guy who did the article that you sent. That at this point, at least for this year and maybe even holiday next year, console is where you need to go. Because you're getting similar for less. And so
Yeah.
why
I feel like
why would you do it? Yeah.
yeah, I feel like at this point, whatever are the advantages of PC gaming before this generation, they were palpable. Faster loading times, better frame rate. Now the advantages are kind of peripheral. Are kind of like, well, I mean, there's a lot of PC peripherals that you can buy that you can buy if you wanna if you wanna play. Like that doesn't matter. Uh, oh, you can play games at more than 120 frames per second. Like who cares at that point? Only esports players will care about that. Uh, and I don't care to play Spider-Man Mike Morales at more than 120 frames per second. Because why? Because it doesn't freaking need to. So there's not a lot anymore, and that's kind of, I mean, it's exciting. Honestly, as a PC person, I can say I'm excited about this generation of consoles. I was skeptical at the very beginning. I don't know if you guys remember when I was thinking like, oh well, what are the differences? What are they gonna bring now? Oh shit! Now I know what they're bringing out, and it is. I think we can call them revolutionary, or at least I would.
Yeah.
At least I would.
I mean, yeah, I'd agree. For now, I'd agree. Yeah.
For now, until PCs can do holographic, holodeck level,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
or the PS6. Let's be real.
Oh man. All right. Well, that guys brings us to the end of another episode. The real episode 236. I don't think we actually mentioned the number of the episode.
I screwed up the beginning, the introduction. Remember? Now you have certified it. Now you
I did. Finally. It only took all this time, but the real episode 236. Thank you again for tuning in, and as always, please go to goodgame.rocks. Join the conversation there. And of course, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone. This is Mad Dog signing off this week, saying, guys, relax. We're towards the end here. It's they're being counted.
That's probably it by the time that they listen, hopefully.
Hopefully. I hope it is. And I also want to sign off saying to tune in to Nivel Escondido because they are doing the Extra Life this year. And so unfortunately, GG is not going to be able to. I personally can't do it because of situations at home. I think same thing for Dreamy, same thing maybe for Chaos as well. Also, shout out to Chaos. We miss you, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Signing off this week, Mr. David Santos, take us home.
I just want to say you guys are kind of amazing. All this time we have been pushing everybody to go vote. Whatever is your candidate of preference. I'm just amazed that like you guys did. This has been the biggest turnout of any election, and it's kind of impressive. Now we're just for now. So this time that we're recording, we're sitting and waiting, and whatever it is, whatever the outcome is, let's just remember we're still supposed to be the United States of America.
Yeah, for sure. Let's not forget that.
We don't need a second civil war. Come on, guys.
We definitely do not.
No.
We definitely do not. All right, guys.
I'll be bunkering at your house, Mad Dog.
By all means, sir. You are always welcome here. We are officially COVID free, so you're good to go. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
GG!